What's up, everybody? Welcome to PS I Love You XOXO episode 103. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside Forbes 30 Under 30, aka the future class of the Video Game Awards, aka the OK Beast, Blessing Adeoye Jr.
Severed was a good game.
Don't do this. We
I'm
promised to
doing it.
leave that in the post show. We weren't going to bring in this conversation.
The free show.
Whatever it is. You know, I don't know. Janet, is it a pre-show? Is it a post-show? It's a show. It's been happening.
It's it's the most exclusive content we do is the show that happens the second before Barrett. It's like
the
we have to start the
11-minute
show 'cause we have other things to
dissertation
do.
we just had about Severed and Drinkbox's discography here. Guacamelee versus 1 versus Guacamelee 2. Good Lord.
I'm down for Drinkbox in review.
Why would we do that, though? They've turned their back on us. Of course, nobody saves the world out this week on Xbox.
Well, I feel like... I mean, do you think that'll come to PlayStation? I feel like it'll.
Of course. All games come to PlayStation eventually.
Like
3 months.
Death's Door came to PlayStation in the same year, which was surprising to me. I figured it'd be like after the fact. Like
it's been interesting with like Xbox Game Pass, and like I feel like those exclusivity deals are getting shorter and shorter, and not shorter and shorter, like, you know, by a moment. But yeah, Death's Door was super quick. I remember.
See, I feel like with indies, it's more common to go shorter because I remember Inside coming out when the year that came out and being like, oh man, am I ever gonna play this? It's on Xbox, and then like not even that many months. I want to say it was like 1 month later it came to PlayStation, and I was like, oh shit.
I think on the flip side too, like on our side, like having Chicory like out the gate, and then that coming to like Switch and other stuff later, like that makes sense given
you win some, you lose some.
Scale.
But again, as I've gone on this rant many a time on other shows, the problem we have here is that, of course, Drinkbox put on the map by PlayStation. So for them to, you know, just Phil Spencer drives up with a dump truck full of cash, and Drinkbox is like, you know what? Shuhei Yoshida, never heard of them. I'm not going to do this.
I can't believe
they were the saviors of the Vita. They were the saviors of the Vita, and now the Vita's gone. So like,
nothing can save that trash fire of a fucking.
It worked out pretty well, Janet. There's a lot of games you like on Vita.
Where's the Vita now?
It's over there. I got 2 in the other room.
It's my closet.
Barrett's keeps
with the PSVR.
With my PSVR.
PlayStation. What's in your PlayStation closet?
I got so close. I got so close to taking out my PSVR this weekend.
No, you didn't. I heard you. Like, I listen. Okay, here's the thing. I listened to PS I Love You one of the rare times I could listen to it because wasn't on the show last week for my birthday, and I was running and I was listening. And when you were like, maybe I'll take out my VR headset for this game I randomly found 10 seconds ago, and I was like, this is.
I had heard about it for weeks.
I was like, this is Blessing just lying to himself, lying to everyone on the call.
I legitimately, I got the code for Fracked, and it's like I have Fracked downloaded on my PlayStation right now, and this weekend was going to be the time where I was going to finally bust out my PSVR. And then I thought about it, and I was like, oh, no, that seems like a lot of work. I don't feel like it anymore.
Yep. And that was the thing is like we had that whole conversation how much we love VR and how it's just too much work, and you know, but hopefully PlayStation VR 2 will be better or whatever. And like a day later I got an email like somebody like, hey, we got a game coming up on VR and you get on any platform you want. And I'm like, I'll be honest with you, it's just we're not gonna you can send us all the codes in the world, it's probably not gonna happen.
Yeah, I think I got the same email. Somebody asked me about VR stuff, and I was just like, hey, I mean, when PSVR 2 is coming out at some point, and we'll cover that for sure. But yeah, for the most part, when you tell me something's VR, it's like, oh, that is a hump for me to get over to actually want to cover it.
We get into our roles and what we're doing, right? And there's so many other people doing great work out there that you can go out and see if you want for like that. Like PSVR Without Parole, I got turned on to this week after our PSVR episode. And of course, everything Taylor's doing at IGN. And so like, you know, there's plenty of people who are in the weeds on stuff that's still coming out. Whereas for us, there's so many other things we're trying to cover. It's too much.
I'll tell you what I did do instead of busting out my PSVR, and this was gonna be, I was gonna wait for what you've been playing, but I'll just say here,
do whatever the fuck you want. It's your show. Who cares?
I just downloaded last night Spider-Man Miles Morales because
you're gonna finally get the right opinion on this. You're gonna play through it and like this game and not be the negative Nelly you were the first time around on it.
No, I like it. I wasn't in love with it the way I
believe on IGN's review crew, you're the only one who didn't like it. If I remember,
I liked it the least, but I definitely liked it at least a little bit. But no, I played through the DLC finally for Spider-Man Remastered, City That Never Sleeps, because I never played all the way through it because I think I got like partway through and I was just bored with it. I wasn't really feeling it. Returning back to it, I enjoyed it way more, I think, because I stopped doing the side stuff. Because I saw that people, and I think me included, just did not fuck with the screwball missions. And after watching Spider-Man No Way Home, I was like, man, I want something Spider-Man. Like I feel like playing a Spider-Man game. And so like I booted up Spider-Man Remastered, and I was like, I'm gonna mainline this story and just do the main story quest. And Remastered on PS5 looks fantastic. I hadn't played Remastered aside from booting it up just to download the trophies and get the platinum. And like I had played only Miles Morales before that. And so not playing Miles Morales for like the last year and hopping into Spider-Man Remastered, I was like, damn, this game looks gorgeous. But then I finished the DLC pretty quickly. And I was like, damn, I don't think I'm done here. I think I need some more Spider-Man in my life. And so I downloaded Miles Morales again. I've not played it yet. I have it literally booted up next to me on my second monitor. I'm not going to play it during the show. In fact, I was
going to say, what are you going to do now? What's your
No, I need to turn it on so I don't get tempted. But sure. Like as I booted it up, I saw that like I had my 80% save for my first run and then my 17% save for some reason. I don't know why I did a second save. It must have been a trophy thing, but it's sitting in there, and I'm like,
go for that platinum. It's an easy one.
I might go for the platinum because I never got the platinum.
Yeah, New Game Plus, and if you can just easily skip through the cutscenes if you want.
Well, if I'm gonna play it for the story again because I like the story. I just wanted more from it. I wanted better. I wanted the villains to be better developed.
I only brought that up
more time with Miles Morales.
I only brought that up because like
hang out in his house at a family dinner.
Yeah. When we were going for like the platinums around the time,
I want to be at his house at least 5 times.
I remember just like having to do the New Game Plus run so soon after like playing through the story for the first time. I was like, all right, I can skip through these cutscenes, and it only took.
How quick was it when you skipped the cutscenes?
Oh, it's so quick.
It was like 5 hours.
I might skip the cutscenes.
You can fly, yeah, you can fly when you skip the cutscenes. Speaking of flying, she's the roller skating, marathon training, game playing. Janet Garcia. Hello, Janet.
Yo, what's up? I'm here. I'm 28 now. I have new glasses. I have a new haircut and a new platinum, and I'm ready to talk about Horizon Zero Dawn. Let's go.
Damn, hell yeah.
I was also only 98% in the lead up in that sentence, being like, get the name of the game correct. Get it. There's now we got Frozen Wilds, Forbidden West, and God, what's the other one?
Call of the Mountain.
Call of the Mountain.
Call of the Mountain sounds like a Zelda game. To be honest with ourselves. That sounds like a Breath of the Wild. I feel like Nintendo right now
in the title. Come on,
they are fucking crossing out fucking names on their board right now because of what Horizon Forbidden West is doing, or Horizon Call of the Mountain. See, I'm already confused about it too. But for sure, that was on the list for Nintendo.
Horizon Forbidden Mountain. Horizon Call of the West.
Call of the West.
Yes.
Zero Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Zero West.
Mountain Dawn.
Okay, now we're done.
Forbidden Wild.
Okay, we done it. We did the whole
thing. I knew
thing.
someone was gonna do the one more thing. It's fine.
Janet, I'm glad you could be here because, of course, over the weekend it looked like you died. Barrett, I sent you this image. You look at this. This was on Twitter. This was on Twitter. Jesus Christ! Like all you need to do is put in remembrance on this. When I saw it on my feed, I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
No, I had to share because I was cleaning out my phone photos because like I get loaded up on photos. Like, oh my god, yes. No, so in the caption of that tweet,
episode in a memorandum.
The caption of that tweet, I was like, just so y'all know, I like make Isaiah take my boyfriend Isaiah take photos of me sometimes because like he's the one around. I'm like, I want some pictures that aren't all selfies. And on my birthday, that was like for my birthday over the last weekend, I guess, right? Last week. He's like, I'm just gonna take nonstop photos of you using, and I got my new iPhone. He's like, just using every filter and thing that I can. And he was sitting there for like 5 minutes, and like he would not let go of the bit. And one of the photos he took was the one that's on screen now. And I'm like, Isaiah, I look like I died. I look dead. This is like, you just need to put RIP underneath, and then that's it. Like, anyway, but it was too funny that I had to share it because it looks so stupid. But
I appreciate it. How was your birthday? Everything was good? Your haircut looks great.
Thank you. It's hard to tell because it's like, the headphones block everything and I'm like blending in with my sweater and all that. But yeah, it was a good birthday. Still very much like more quarantine birthdays. We did end up going out finally. I didn't for the last 1 or 2 birthdays I had. But we just went to like a brewery. I got some food, had some drinks, watched Goodfellas. I played some games with my family, made them play some games with me. And yeah, that was it. It was pretty chill. Fun time. Yeah, had a good time.
Excellent. Well, you've already said it, ladies and gentlemen, or I guess you've already said it, Janet, but ladies and gentlemen, today we're re-reviewing Horizon Zero Dawn as part of this episode of PS I Love You. If you didn't know, this is PS I Love You XOXO. It's your PlayStation podcast where every week Janet, Blessing, myself, and of course, Barrett Courtney on the ones and twos come together to nerd out about all things PlayStation. If you like that, you can head over to patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames, where of course you can write in to be part of the show. You can watch the show live as we record it, just like Waluigi 1, the Dude Cam, Omega 3R. Of course, you can get the show ad-free. Of course, you can get the show with the exclusive post show we do all on patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames. However, if you have no bucks to toss our way, it's no big deal. You can get every episode Tuesday morning, youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames, roosterteeth.com, and podcast services around the globe each and every Tuesday. Of course, there'd be ads. You wouldn't get the post show. You're not watching live. You're not a Trog, like all the people in the Trog gang watching live right now. But you still get a good show and you have a good time. And if that wasn't enough, in terms of how you want to support us, and you still want to do it without it paying anything, you can use our Epic creator code KindaFunny. Of course, you put that in on the Epic Game Store when you make a purchase. We get some bucks. Or if you're playing Fortnite, Rocket League, or any of the other ones that use the Epic Game Store, you can use it on your platform of choice, and we still get a few bucks that way. Housekeeping for you. We need one other thing of your help this week. Help us by filling out the RT podcast survey about the Kinda Funny podcasts. When you go to the link, kindafunny.com/podcast survey, it'll say Kinda Funny podcast, but they left off the S. They mean all of our podcasts. It takes just a few minutes and helps the network understand what you like about us. So if you could go to kindafunny.com/podcast survey, that would help us out. While you're doing stuff on the internet, if you have an iOS device or you're using the app for Spotify, you can rate podcasts there now. Please rate us. And of course, you can get the new merch over at kindafunny.com/store. I'm wearing it, and Janet's wearing it. Blessing wanted to try to talk shit today on Games Daily, and I saw it. Bless, I saw you, and I'm at Tim's house. I'm digging through boxes, and I'm like, man, there aren't a lot of smalls. And he's like, yeah, Blessing's the only one who requested a small, and so that happened. And I know Gia took one of them. I was like, oh, okay. And then what happens? We get here. We get here, ladies and gentlemen, to Kinda Funny Games Daily this morning, and you bring it up that I didn't bring you as much merch as you thought you're going to get, and Tim just sits there drinking a nice coffee. This motherfucker.
I will say this is not the first time this has happened. Imran Khan has done this before too, where like we'll order only one batch of small clothes, and somebody else will get to it first. Last time it was Imran Khan during like it was like a year and a half ago, and I still hold on to it. This time it being Gia. I'm just requesting maybe we should order at least 2 smalls.
This is something you have to tell Joey, and Joey won't listen to this podcast. Well, no, that's the thing. The contractors get it better than anybody because this merch gets sent to their house. If you are a SF Kinda Funny member, it just goes to Tim or Joey's house, and you got to figure out how to meet them. It used to be fine. We all worked in one place, but that was 2 years ago. Come on, Barrett.
Why is it my fault?
I'm just saying. I feel like you had a solution.
Hey, Greg, you dropped off the stuff for Andy and I, and we had no complaints.
Thank you. Of course, because you're normal people sizes.
Yeah.
Blessing.
Normal people sizes.
Eat a bagel, all right? Just put on a little bit of weight to go to the medium range, and then there's a sea of mediums. I open these boxes, there's M's everywhere.
Jesus.
Small, I'm picking them up. I'm like, is this the right thing? I don't know. It's so tiny. You know what I mean? Help me out.
The only small here, I feel like it'd be a lot easier for me to actually get my outfits because small is a very common size. I'm the only person in this company who wears a small. Somehow I never get what I ask for. But
like you mentioned, you got Imran, you got Gia, you got Portillo. I don't know who's gonna get to the box first.
It sounds like you should order more than one. Well, I'm messaging Joey right
now.
That makes too much sense.
Tell Joey I'm just here. I'm just here. I'm just a humble delivering the message and the links here for kindafunny.com/store. I don't put in the orders. If I did, I'd be ordering smalls, at least 2. And when we get to the studio, we'll be able to store things. It'll be easier. But right now, they're all shoved in Tim's closet downstairs.
That we should.
Also, you live like 5 minutes from Tim. Why don't you hop in your car and drive over there one day? Say hey.
It's more like 10 minutes. And like once you get into the double digits, it becomes a thing. Like, are you guys going to compensate me for gas? There's also a pandemic going on. I don't want to.
He was too busy this weekend thinking about bringing out his PSVR. You know.
Yeah, that was going to take up a lot of my time too. I had to get a smog test for my car because it's California, and apparently they care about smog here. It was a busy weekend.
Be like our Patreon producers, James Davis, a.k.a. at James Davis Makes, Praise Portillo, Greg Miller's back and better than ever, Prankski, Delaney Twinning, Tyler Ross, First Responder, ND, Julian the Gluten-Free Gamer, James Hastings, and Casey Andrews. They all supported us on patreon.com/kindafunnygames, just like you can. If you like that, like our sponsor, HelloFresh, but Tim will tell you about that later. For now, let's begin the show with topic of the show. Topic of the show, ladies and gentlemen, is your Horizon Zero Dawn re-review. If you can believe it, you are a month from Horizon Forbidden West, the next entry in Aloy's saga. We are all very excited here, but to get ready, we all thought we'd play a little bit more. Janet played for the first time. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on, but a recap, of course, Horizon Zero Dawn came out February 28th, 2017, 5 years ago. That's outrageous to say. It feels like only yesterday, but I went back and watched so many old videos from when I played it for the first time. I talked to Tim, the PS I Love You FAQ we did. There's so many pieces, Kinda Funny reacts. We were doing game reviews as reacts back then. Went back and watched all this.
I was thinking about this the other day, that more time has passed between Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West than Killzone Shadowfall to Horizon Zero Dawn. That was only 4 years between both those games. Yeah. It's 5 years between these games.
Yeah. Right now, it's sitting with a Metacritic of 89. Of course, I'm talking about the PlayStation 4 version of it. And then, like you just brought up, Guerrilla's pedigree. If you don't know, of course, Guerrilla Games. Of course, yes, Horizon Zero Dawn in 2017. 2013 was Killzone Shadowfall. 2011, Killzone 3. 2009, Killzone 2. 2006 was Killzone Liberation. 2004, we're back to regular old Killzone. And Shellshock Nom 67, which slid by me. I didn't play that one. Of course, it's interesting to come to a game from 5 years ago. I prefer the fresh set of eyes. So, Janet, talk to me about this. This is your first time through Horizon, yes?
Yep.
Why'd you wait so long?
Breath of the Wild. I know it's a thing no one wants to hear. I know I'm part of the problem. It's funny though, because when the conversation happened around like Breath of the Wild and Horizon, and so much of what I at least heard, not saying that's all that was said, because I know there was a lot of people that were like, I know y'all are hot on this Breath of the Wild, but like don't sleep on Horizon. And I was just like, I was hitting snooze for years on this game. And frankly, like the way it was discussed a lot was just that it was like Breath of the Wild, but not as good. And I do think that I'm now in the camp of they are distinctive enough that I understand the comparison is natural given the time of year and the genre. And then there are some like connective threads with like ancient machinery and the arrows and stuff like that. But ultimately, I felt like I didn't think about really Breath of the Wild at all, like why I was playing. I mean, obviously it came up because that was the original conversation that was had a lot, but I absolutely fell in love with it.
I think the big thing there is the fact that they came out within like a week of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that really brought on for both these massive open world games, most people only have time at the time to like play one of them. Or if you're like
also the idea of that you have a brand new platform in the Switch, right? Zelda was a launch game for it. You want something hot for that, and that was the hotness.
Yeah, and for me, who's like at the time I was like big into both the PlayStation exclusives and into like the Nintendo stuff, and I was so ecstatic about the Switch. I played Horizon for that week, and I played probably about 7 to 10 hours of gameplay, and I picked up Zelda, and because of their proximity being so close to each other, it's so difficult not to compare certain things and try to go back and forth and not identify the things that are lacking in both or that are present in both. Where I jump into Breath of the Wild, put it down, and then go to Horizon, and then in my mind trying to play it like Breath of the Wild, but it's like, oh wait, no, yeah, this is not a game about exploration and climbing. No, this is a game about the quests and the characters, and like on the other side, right? Like I would go back to Breath of the Wild and be like, oh yeah, the story seems lacking, but I just love existing in this world, and it was that back and forth that at the time I think was supernatural and inevitable given their proximity to each other. Where now you don't have that problem because you're playing it in that vacuum of not having to go up against Breath of the Wild.
Well, now, and that's the thing about it, for me. And I think the way the reviews worked out, I have to go back, at least the way I played it for sure, was having Horizon done to move on to Breath of the Wild. So, and that was just how it worked out review-wise for me. So I had the chance to play them both and not feel them butt up against each other because of embargoes. And so it's for me, I never think anymore about Breath of the Wild in the same breath as Horizon, because I know that was a conversation for so many people playing it at the time, or so many people trying to work on multiple reviews. And so when, we put it up on patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames questions and, hopes, dreams, fears for this, I was shocked at how many times Breath of the Wild comes up. And I was like, oh, right, blah, blah, blah. That makes sense. But for me, it was more about like, going back and watching the 5-year-old content I had made about this and talking about like, I'm there and I'm either with Tim or I'm with Colin and I'm talking about like, well, it's everything about it's Assassin's Creed and it's going to be some of the Last of Us storytelling and it's all these different RPGs and Fallout and all this mashed up into one. Now it's that crazy thing of playing it in 2021 or 2022, God, and running around. It's that ridiculousness of like running to the wall and trying to climb up it and being like, oh, I can't do that. Right. Yep. This game didn't do that. And it's not even, when I do that, I'm not even like, oh, Breath of the Wild. I'm thinking of Assassin's Creed. I'm thinking of so many games that have come before. Please.
One thing that surprised me in that regard, because that's a lot of what I heard too, like before I played it, like you're going to want to just be free, like how you were in Breath of the Wild, but then you can't. And you're going to be like, this sucks. That's like the vibe I got from the larger discourse. And while there's definitely, set paths they want you to take when you're like trying to scale like a mountain or, a series of rocks or whatever, I actually found that I was able to do a lot more than I thought I was able to do. Like I did jank my way up a lot of cliff sides and not a lot of janking, a lot of like that weird hop. Yes, but I was able to do it. And I always jank my way through games because I just will beeline, and that's why in Death Stranding I fell a lot when I first started it, like a few weeks ago. And I'm like, they said go, it's like that, if y'all watch The Office and that clip where Michael goes into the lake, there's a lake here. The GPS wouldn't lead me supposed to go. And that's often how I play. Like, it's just whatever comes natural. And I found it was a lot easier to be able to do that kind of traversal. Again, I would want more than that from a game, especially now, given the time and all that. And I think there will be more versatility in your ability to climb up things. But I was surprised with how infrequently I felt like, oh, I want to get up there, but clearly I have to find this exact point, because one, it's very telegraphed where it is. And then two, you can jank your way up to a degree, and then by then you can usually kind of get your bearings and find your way. So I found the traversal to actually be a lot more natural and integrated than I was expecting it to be.
For sure. And I remember playing at the time in 2017, weren't thinking about it. But again, it was more, not even a Breath of the Wild thing for me. It was a Assassin's Creed Valhalla thing that, over break, I put another 35, 40 hours into, where it was doing the Frozen Wilds DLC. It was one of the few bandit camps I hadn't cleared out before. And I ran in there and I headshotted everybody and feeling like a badass. And then like the last canister thing I needed to collect was at the top of this thing. I'm like, how the fuck do I get up there? I'm like trying to run into the wall. No. And I'm working my way back. No. And it turned out that there was like the one little set of handholds over there that I didn't see that I needed. I'm like, oh, right. That's what it is. Of course, I asked for your opinions on patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames, or write in just like you should for every show. Kebabs wrote in with this one that I thought applies to what we're doing right now. I absolutely loved Horizon Zero Dawn because of how not like Breath of the Wild it was. There was no cooking. You couldn't just Spider-Man up cliffs to solve your problems. And the overall gameplay and world structure had more direction and focus compared to Breath of the Wild. About the only thing I didn't like was having to get pelts and stuff to hold more arrows. I think that's the interesting test that happened with this one, where I did drop, was like, what did you like or dislike about Breath of the Wild, or what did you like or dislike about Horizon Zero Dawn, and then how they came together to make the experiences what they were. But playing Horizon and even playing Breath of the Wild, I found them to be not wholly unique, obviously, bow and arrow and stuff like that, and fighting monsters and shit. But I even playing Zelda, I don't remember comparing it much to Horizon. I don't remember that being the thing, because they were trying to do different things and trying to present themselves as different games. But Janet, the question becomes then, totally removed then from this conversation of Horizon, that's what kept you away from Horizon. What did you think of Horizon for your first time through?
I absolutely loved it. It honestly reinforced just what a good open world game is to me, because I feel like oftentimes the last few open world games I've played, they've either not completely hit, or varying degrees of, I think it's good, but I'm not in love with it, right? I wasn't, in love with Far Cry, but I thought it was good. I wasn't in love with Ghost, but I thought it was, the combat was great. And I think the open world just didn't quite hit for me the way it hit for a lot of other people. And at a certain point, I did start to wonder, like, maybe it's more of a me thing. Maybe I just want like a really, I just generally haven't played that many or as many open world games with like not having like that Assassin's Creed background or anything like that. But then I'm like, nope. This is just a really good one, and the other ones were not as good, frankly. Like, this is just one of the best open world games and games I've played ever. I think what really struck me as brilliant in this, besides the fact that the combat's really good, like, I think that it's fun getting to layer the tool set. I think the quests do a great job feeding into what makes the game fun, because so many of the quests are, of course, around like, machine or human combat. And it's a lot of the same stuff that you're already doing, but you get those interesting storylines. You might get some cool rewards that you can then use to like upgrade your stuff. Like, everything you're doing feels meaningful and purposeful, even when it's optional stuff, like doing the Hunter's Lodge, which I imagine maybe one of those is required just to show you that exists. But I went through all of those and I'm like, sometimes they were a little bit frustrating just because they're challenging to do.
For sure.
But they taught me things I wouldn't have done before. Like, that's when I really learned like the power of the rope caster, because people were telling me like, oh, use it, because like I used it a bunch, it's great, you can tie down things. I'm like, it's not really working for me. And then starting to see like, okay, this is how it can work when I'm utilizing it, or this is how I could utilize this is how I can knock certain things off, or oh, I didn't even realize that I can take off the stuff on the back of the shell walker and then pick up the like it teaches you so much more about the game and the world, and I think that feeds into itself really well. And it's also, it is an open world, so there's a lot of things to do, but it doesn't feel like it's in an insane amount. I think especially the way they roll it out feels very approachable, and that's why like I started playing it and I liked everything I was doing, so I did all the side stuff and I kept doing that, and I'm like, I'm gonna platinum this, because if platinuming this is just keep doing what I'm doing and I love what I'm doing, it only feels natural to just continue and want to check all those boxes and want to help the people out and, gain this experience and get more tools and learn how to use certain weapons. And I think that's really what the brilliance of it was, that it felt like just diversified enough while continuously amplifying what makes that game good.
Yeah, one of the things you just talked about is something I think I've seen a lot of kids writing because I asked for your hopes for Horizon Forbidden West, right? What do you want out of it? And somebody were talking about like giving you a reason to use different stuff. I'm actually going to read from Brandon K. Gon, who wrote in with this review. Horizon Zero Dawn is my personal 2017 game of the year. I'm typically averse to open world games, but the machines and the main narrative was compelling enough to go out and discover the mysteries of how the world came to be and what was to come. Personally, I feel the combat is very solid, but now currently on a third playthrough on the same save, I find myself using 3 different arrow types to get through any encounter with only a couple of exceptions. So while the traps and bombs are spectacles to see your machines explode, it does have the danger of finding the things you feel work best for you and no real incentive of using anything else. The hunting grounds are a nice attempt to give you challenges where you must use specific equipment, but these one-off moments only serve to get an XP boost, resources, and to clear a spot from the map. I also think they're being somewhat something to pick up every 5 feet can get annoying, especially if you loot everything you defeat or come across. Soon you'll have way too much stuff and never in any danger of running out of materials to craft ammo or sell things. So 2 things in there, right? Of like, I remember playing at the time, I got into a rhythm of these are the weapons I use for this thing, and this is what I go for. And I remember other people dinging for that, and also other people saying if you played on a harder difficulty, they actually challenged you and made you play, very specifically take a Thunderjaw this way versus however you wanted to. But I also remember these hunting grounds challenges, right? Giving rewards that mattered. Obviously the XP, obviously the resources, but different weapons that were more powerful than what I was using at the time and going that way. And, like you're talking about, Janet, it was rewarding and felt to do these things. These side things did help. But again, as I've talked about before and over the years, like I always appreciated that the golden path was there. Like I am an open world fan. Like, a third person action adventure open world is probably my favorite genre of game. And so I am the guy that, just like Kevin, right? When we get there and the world opens up, cool, I'm going to go clear everything I can possibly clear before I ever go back to the story. And I remember when I finally went back to the story, being like, man, this is really good. And then getting the next story mission and doing it. And then the next. I was like, man, this is so compelling and so good. And the mysteries they were giving weren't the kind of shit I hate in games where, cool, here's this thing you don't understand. We'll get back to it in 7 hours. It was that the next mission helped me get on that point and keep the breadcrumb trail going. I think that all plays into what makes this game special and why it holds up 5 years later and why it was a standout then. But Blessing, what is your Horizon Zero Dawn story?
Yeah, so like I actually have a very similar story as Janet, where that game came out in 2017. I know I've talked about this before on the show that like I played that game. I played again like the first 10 hours or so in 2017, put it down because I got distracted by so many other games, including Breath of the Wild, but then many other games, right? Nier Automata, Hellblade, like the amount of games that came out that year being insane. Like I never really came back to it or even had the hunger to get back to it just because as a game at the time, I think I just wasn't that interested in it. Like I'm somebody who I like open world games as well, but I think I look for a different kind of experience out of open world games than something that is a Ubisoft style like checklist go through. Boxes. Yeah, knock out every single thing in the world. When I come to an open world game, I think I'm coming to it like the open world games I identify with the most are games like Fallout 3 or GTA 5 or Breath of the Wild or even like a Spider-Man, where I feel like it is less checkboxy and less rigidly structured in that way, and more so about either exploring and uncovering things super slowly in the world and getting lost in it, or in the case of something like Ghost or Spider-Man, it is more so kind of seeing the open world as like a playground to kind of do your thing and have fun and swing around and get lost in, right? That's kind of what I look for out of an open world, and Horizon was kind of everything that I didn't want in an open world game. And so when I came back to it, I actually came back to it right after joining KF. And the reason why I went back to it was because we brought back PS I Love You, and I thought for the knowledge base, I was like, cool. What are the PlayStation games that I'm missing out on? All right, let me play and beat the rest of Horizon Zero Dawn, because I felt like it was an experience worth having for being able to talk about it for when inevitably we get Horizon Forbidden West. And so upon returning to it, picking it back up from where I left off and playing the rest of it, I found that I liked it a lot more than what I liked when I originally picked it up. And I think a lot of that came from getting further in the story and finding more of the interesting aspects in the story and narrative and how they build out that world and how they reveal like, hey, this is what you think the world is. Now this is what the world actually is and who these characters actually are and where this character comes from and what this character's deal is. I think so much of the lore and world building aspects of Horizon Zero Dawn is where the game shines the most, along with the visuals and the aesthetic. And so upon returning to it a few weeks ago during my break, I picked up Frozen Wilds, the DLC, and I played through it for the first time. And I found that returning to it, I kind of had like a meeting of when I first played it and when I returned to it the second time, of being in the open world and kind of having flashbacks of, oh yeah, I guess I don't necessarily love how this game plays, right? I think the combat is like good, not great in my opinion. Like I don't love the bow and arrow combat. I think the melee combat isn't that great in Horizon Zero Dawn, and a lot of that was creeping back up as I was playing. I think exploring the open world for me just isn't as fun. I get really frustrated when I'm trying to just like beeline to a certain area, and every other second there's some machine in my way that is like annoying me, or that is like looking for a mount and being like, hey, how do I get back on this mount? All right, let's do it. And there's like that little bit of like jank to it that I think I've surpassed because I played something like Ghost of Tsushima, where like I'm running, I do the horse, like summon my horse button,
Sure.
the horse is right there, and it's like no friction at all between me running and me being on my horse. All those like open world quality of life elements started creeping back up as I was playing the DLC, and at first I was like, oh man, do I not like this game as much as I thought? But then I got into the flow of the actual quests and the actual missions and the actual story, and I was like, okay, no, I do. It's just certain aspects of Horizon Zero Dawn I love more than other aspects. And specifically,
sure.
it is the story and like the mainline quest is what I love most in Horizon Zero Dawn. Doing the side stuff and trying to clear out the game is actually what I like the least. And that's what I found this last time going in. But it's also what excites me about Horizon Forbidden West. And I know we'll get into it in a second when we talk about like shit we're looking forward to in the game. I was going through and I was rewatching the trailers, rewatching gameplay stuff, rereading like the blog posts that they put up talking about Horizon Forbidden West. And I feel like there's an answer to pretty much every single one of my complaints in Horizon Forbidden West, where they go through and they talk about the glider that they've added for Aloy's arsenal. They talk about improved climbing. They talk about improved melee. They talk about the expanded weapon set. They talk about they have like I forget the exact name of the team, but it's basically a team that is specifically for world building, like a believable world team that is all about like, creating like the different cultures in the game in terms of the different tribes that are present and expanding that and making it believable. And that is the stuff that I'm looking forward to in the next Horizon that I felt like I didn't get. I didn't feel like always hit the mark in Horizon Zero Dawn.
Well, and I think, oh, sorry, go Jenna.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think something to what you mentioned, Blessing, with the feeling the frustrations of like, why can't I do this thing? Like, why can't I just summon my mount? Why do I have to like go find it? Why do I have to walk between these things? I think little stuff like that is definitely what I'm hoping they fine tune. Like, I think the fact that you have an infinite fast travel pack that you have to buy from one place that they don't tell you can buy is a choice that didn't need to be made. I think that could have just been something you were given in the main quest automatically, stuff like that. I did find early on in my playthrough that there were certain things I assumed I'd be able to do. And then when I realized I couldn't do them, it's because they were like a skill that I needed to unlock.
Sure.
And I'm hoping that in this next one where they talk about, oh, we're going to have even more of an expanded skill tree, I'm hoping that they'll, in addition to just being more stuff to gain, that we also start a little bit more powerful, because like being able to summon any mount, that's something you get in the skill tree, but it's like the last thing you get in that leg of that skill tree. That being said, I was able to like circumvent that with just, fast traveling to a lot of places until I had gotten that ability. But I'm hoping that we're a little bit more of a refined character in terms of like skill set, because like
you have to,
getting a mount the first time and then not being able to pick stuff up while you're on the mount, because again, that is a skill you unlock, like little stuff like that, or like the auto pickups that people wrote in mentioning about, like those are stuff where the fact that triangle is to pick up item while on mount and get off mount. I'm like the amount of times I got off that mount by accident because I'm trying to pick up a stick or something is like a lot.
A lot of that I think is a symptom of what Greg brought up earlier, talking about how in 2017 reviewing Horizon Zero Dawn and talking about what it is, it feels like a mixture of a lot of different open world ideas, right? It is part The Witcher, it is part Assassin's Creed, right? And like you get those Breath of the Wild comparisons too. And I think the game does so much that in it trying to establish what it is between all these different things, there are those places of friction where it's like, okay, I see how you're trying to do this as a like a game that is taking after Assassin's Creed, but then when you're a game that's also inspired by something like The Witcher, that I can see how some of this stuff gets in the way, where it feels very V1 of this, and like V2 I feel like will smooth out a lot of that stuff.
And one of the things that I think is such a credit to Guerrilla and Horizon, right, is that I again watching the 2017 review and hearing me complain about the fact that like the map is littered with the campfires and stuff, and I say in the review there's no way to turn it off. Now playing the game and going through, it's like they've gone in and added a legend, and they've gone in the ability to turn on and off what you want to see at any given time. Like that's something that came after launch. That's a post-launch update of them listening. And I say in the review at the time, like it is these little nickel and dime things that you run into. You're like, ooh, I can see why you'd make this mistake, this being your first open world. But all that in the game is so good, in spite of that I in 2017, I'm saying I can't wait to see what they do in the future and what they do with the sequel. And so like I can't put into words accurately, obviously, how excited I am for Forbidden West after replaying a bunch of Horizon again, and then watching the reviews and watching the Let's Plays, and then going and watching immediately all the stuff PlayStation's put out about Forbidden West. We're like, oh shit, like fuck yeah. And I've talked about it before, like I didn't remember the story beat for beat. Like I remember, I think on Games Daily when we talked about it, I kept it we're gonna get spoiler here, by the way, if you haven't beaten Horizon Zero Dawn. So this was your shot. But like I remembered the big stuff and going back and like, oh man, like I do remember that. I remember what a big reveal that was. I remember watching that, using the focus and watching them argue at the table and like, all right, that was a fucking awesome moment.
Yeah. And I think that's one of my things too, is like we talking about the story. I think the main story is so good, but I don't remember one side quest I did during the main story. And I think again, part of this, a lot of this is like the V1 nature of it, and talking about like, okay, now when we're talking about V2 of Horizon, right? Horizon Forbidden West. Do we need the fast travel packs? Can we make it easier to summon and get on your mount super quickly? That has the ease of something like Ghost, or even like swinging Spider-Man, where you're not even thinking about it. You press R2 and you go, right? What are the quality of life things that that in this open world that we've established that exists in kind of this middle ground of like an action, but like a super RPG? What can we do with that? And then also in things like quests, right? How do we make the quests more interesting and dynamic and like memorable? Because for a game that has so much dialogue and has such an interesting world that they've established, which with like a really rich and vibrant, like, I guess since we're getting into what the game is, or like this light spoilers or whatever, right? Like it being this post-apocalyptic America that you're existing in, and then talking about how we got to this point, then talking about Project Zero Dawn and like what Hades is, and how like them stopping Hades from basically destroying humanity coming back. There's so much cool shit with that. And Horizon Zero Dawn, I feel like, is all about establishing that lore, but I don't think it gives itself the freedom to play around with the world that it's established in the way where when I play Fallout 3 or Fallout 4 or like New Vegas even, I feel like so much of it is, hey, here's the setup, and every quest you're doing, anything worthwhile in that game, and even in The Witcher, or like many of the other great open world RPGs that I love, so many of them are more so about dealing with the ramifications of where the lore has brought us. And it's not necessarily dealing with how did the world get here. It's no, how do we deal with this? And you're meeting other characters that just exist in that world. But then like, because of what the world is, you're doing interesting things in that world. Horizon Zero Dawn feels so focused on, hey, you are Aloy, who's a descendant of this person. And like, this is how the world got here. But I would like more so like, yeah, but what does living in this world mean for these people? Like, what are the interesting things that you can do with this?
And that's the thing about it, where I feel like in Horizon Zero Dawn, Aloy is a character existing in two different storylines, because there is the Golden Path, and there is Elizabeth Sobchak and Zero Dawn, and Gaia and Hades and all this stuff that's going on, and then there is the world, right? And her being an outcast, and the way tribes have been broken out that way, and yada yada. And I think it's why you get that B storyline of like what's happening in the present not mattering as much, because the A storyline needs to be a big reveal and needs to get to that point, needs to go and do that thing. So you do get like the quest. Like I went and watched the Let's Play I did where I showed from Tim the first time I played, where it's like this woman's brother's run off and he's over here and he's having a breakdown on the cliff, and it's like, am I mean to him? Am I nice to him? Like, what? I don't like, why was he hearing voices in his head? Was it because it doesn't matter, because we weren't ready in that part, those early hours of the game, to reveal what's going on. What's so fascinating about Forbidden West is, like, so what is next for everybody, right? Like, yeah, sure, Hades is out there and clearly is going to be a big part of it, but what you in the the trailer we watch or whatever, the gameplay we watch when what's his name, her friend who's got the
Silence.
No, not Rust.
The other guy, the drunk guy,
like Elfin or Eldon or shit.
Like the guy with the beard.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. His name always escapes
drunk beard friend.
Yeah,
Horizon.
somebody else, chat. Let me know, because I see the chat over there, and it's something like Eldon, but it's not. It's something. It's spelled funky, but a normal word we know. Anyways, though.
Olin.
Oh, is that him?
I think so. Or Aaron. There's
Aaron.
Yes.
That's
no,
Aaron.
Olin's the dude who like flips on you early on. Aaron.
Aaron. Thank you, everybody. And you're about to see him in the trailer, or you would have just saw him, I guess, in this trailer. But like the thing they reveal here at the end when he's like, I got the thing you sent me for, and gives it out of the boot, shows more like locations. It looks like they need to go to get whatever they're trying to construct, whatever the whole thing here is. So you imagine this is going to be there's going to be one main storyline of what's happening in the world, which is the blight coming from the blight that's sweeping across the world now, that Aloy needs to stop using technology from the past, and how that goes. And I hope that means that, especially with the tribe we run into here, of them being able to tame their own monsters, right, and be able to ride these things. It looks like hopefully then they're in on the whole thing too of what's going on. But it does make for an interesting thing where I think the golden path of Zero Dawn is so memorable, right? And then the side quests do fall by the wayside. I want to read, while we keep watching this, from the one and only Yusef McGee, who wrote into patreon.com/KindaFunny Games with his review, and says, I finished my New Game Plus playthrough of Horizon Zero Dawn and was blown away at how great the combat still is, but was even more impressed with how much I still adore the story, and how Horizon's narrative team told both a present and past storyline simultaneously and wove them together beautifully. Like my original playthrough in 2017, I couldn't put it down because I wanted to find out what happened next. What exactly was Project Zero Dawn? How did the government cover up Operation Enduring Victory? Who exactly is Aloy, and where did she come from? Why is this world the way it is? The game does such a good job of setting up mysteries and providing satisfying and reasoned answers to them. The world and setting is treated with so much care and logic. It really feels like the narrative team sat down and thought, okay, if A, B, and C happen, then clearly it would result in X, Y, and Z. If they had to break the news to the alphas that a global extinction event was imminent, how would they do it? Well, they'd present the information in part, assess them with therapists along the way, offer them time to process, and provide contingencies and ways out, even if that means suicide, if they don't want to participate in Zero Dawn. Even humanity's development makes sense. A woman saved all life on Earth. Of course, the society that grew up worshiping the mountain she built would develop into a matriarchy. These are just a couple of small examples, but every aspect of Horizon Zero Dawn's world feels so well thought out, and that's what I appreciate the most about it. Even the audio logs are so good, and don't even get me started on the environmental storytelling audio logs and stuff like that. I do think I was obviously everybody's replaying Horizon Zero Dawn right now. I saw Arthur Geese, formerly of IGN, Polygon of everywhere. I think he still does the show with Anthony Gayos, but I'm not even sure. But he was tweeting about like how there's like one section that is just an information exposition dump. But again, it's the game struggling, right, with wanting to give you this mystery, keep it entertaining along the way. But then, when you get there and you do find out all this information, I remember it being like all of a sudden a fire hose of info was turned on. But I wanted
an info dump though.
I was sitting there eating it up, right, and listening and watching.
Especially like toward when you get like closer to the end of the game, like the last third, I would say, just because at that point you now know a lot more. So like I feel like you can engage with the information you're getting more or contextualize it. Where something like an audio log early on about like a crew member reflecting on what they're doing, it might not be as impactful if you don't understand the weight of what they're doing. But once you get further in and know the major beats, it becomes a lot more compelling. But like particularly the audio logs that are in like the cauldrons or cauldron-like areas, like maybe just underground caves. The cauldrons are so good. But like the general, like when you're in a room where it's like, these are a bunch of caves and there's like 8 dorms in here, and there's 3 audio logs in each room, and triangles to start it and to stop the log. I'm like, okay, I like the story, but I literally have nothing to do here. Like, give me some grass to pick up or something. Like, I have nothing to do. I'm just standing here. It's like I'm in a museum and I'm listening to, which a lot of games do the museum stuff
and
too.
I fucking hate that shit.
Yeah, and the stuff I was getting was good. So like at a certain point, and I think the holograms help with some of that, where it's like, okay, how do I do a cutscene that doesn't feel as much like a cutscene, that can kind of just be a little entertaining? Like I think those help carry that, but I like to see them spread out more. I think to bring it back to the side quest too, I do agree that generally it's a little more compelling when they are like completely aligned with, we all kind of know what's going on in the world, like Aloy and everybody there. But to like Yusuf's point in his review, like I think I kind of liked how they were two separate pieces. And for me, the thing I got from the side quests, like having ran through all of them for the platinum, was getting to meet more people in this world and like understanding the conflicts and things they experience. Like one of the most memorable ones for me was the Hunter's Lodge, which granted, I don't remember the name of the character, but the woman that ends up, I think her name's like starts with a T or something. She takes you under, you know, her wing and you work for her and you fight Red Maw together. And talking to her and her talking about the ways that the lodge to a degree has sort of rejected who she is and doesn't really like, you know, fuck with what she brings to the table, but she's still like working for the lodge in spite of it and really trying to prove herself, but like she shouldn't have to prove herself, but she does because of like, you know, her not being like another man in the family that she like came from and her family having died and she's trying to carry on that like all that weight. And the way she talks to Aloy about the way Aloy was outcasted, and she just that relationship and those conversations, I think, was such a meaningful moment of here's someone in the world that actually can empathize with Aloy in a world where everyone's like, oh, what's up, outcast? Like, I guess you can do this if you don't suck at it. Like, you know, everyone's very aggressive to you in this game. And like meeting her was just such a nice moment. And for me, like that's what I got out of the side quest. Like they didn't need to tie into, you know, Zero Dawn and all that stuff, but it was like, okay, in what ways or to me, they were like tying into the technologies too, because it'd be something like, we found this piece of tech, we didn't know what it did, it's actually calling machines here, okay, let me destroy it. Like that was the way I felt like they were in conversation with each other, and those are the things that I found compelling narratively from the side quests, personally.
For sure.
And I would love to see like even more of that stuff in Forbidden West. Like in Forbidden West, I would love the side quests to touch on just more aspects of the world, especially it being it at least part of it, at least being located in San Francisco. Like I feel like there's a lot of cool shit you can do with that in terms of, oh yeah, like what if there's a quest that just takes place on the Golden Gate Bridge, right? Or like, what if there's a quest that's about like, oh man, all these tech companies are here, and like you're going through and you're visiting like a greatest hits of like the tech companies that are located in San Francisco, right? Like what can you do with that?
And that's the thing that makes me excited about it, and why I think the side stuff, the B storyline, will be closer to the A storyline, is the fact that, you know, we really didn't get that in Horizon Zero Dawn, right? Like I remember it being the big thing when people were playing and they get to whatever amphitheater that they were there. Everybody's like, wait a second, if it's this amphitheater, that means it's, and like it was like kind of hidden of where you were in America or what was going on. And so the fact that you're going to San Francisco, yeah, I do think is going to be way more like, okay, cool, we're going into this city, and that means that we're going to find out more about what humans did there and how it all shook out for them, especially when you go through the operation, right, that they were all a part of, trying to fight off these machines and went with that. And that makes me excited, because that is I do like that. I am more interested in the sci-fi Fall of Humanity reboot of humanity than I am the day-to-day what was going on. Although even now, you know, PlayStation and Guerrilla went out of their way to put up one of the videos, right, that was talking about the factions in this game and talking about the different tribes and what they are, why they are, and what that means. And so to give them individual characteristics like that, I think is interesting as well, to try to make them stand out as both enemies and allies, and, you know, and just NPCs, I guess, as you run across them.
And that's why, like, I know Horizon takes itself way more seriously than something like Fallout. But like one of the things I like about Fallout is going to the Brotherhood of Steel and like being like, okay, what's their deal, right? Like, what is their deal in this game? We're going to a different faction in that game and going, okay, what's your thing? Like, what are the different factions in Boston up to? I think having a similar thing in Horizon Forbidden West, even like taking itself way more seriously, right? But like going in depth in terms of making these tribes feel distinct from each other and having their own different motivations. It was a cool thing it was a thing I liked about Frozen Wilds, is going to the new area and talking to this tribe that like doesn't really have much to do with the rest of the game, but are going through their own thing. And like my one complaint is probably that I felt like the story of Frozen Wilds felt very close in terms of like, it's like the same story but more small in terms of, yeah, the monsters are they're fucking up, like they're demonic, and there's a demon that's taking them over. I feel like that is very much like Horizon Zero Dawn as well.
Hades Jr.
Yeah, Hades Jr. But you're getting like this this version of it that feels that at least has this element of being a bit different, because it is a different tribe and you are getting these people's story, and because of that you get to have this specific moment with characters that aren't present, and you get to like go down that journey of stuff that I thought was really good. And I think the biggest strength that Horizon has is probably the writing, and how good that main stuff is. And going back a little bit to the logs and stuff, you know, whether or not Forbidden West is a past and present story or just a present story, I think if they're going down that route again of doing the audio log stuff, what I would like to see would be for them to I would love for them to vary it up in the way that playing Prey recently, and also Deathloop, I guess, in that matter, right? A thing I liked about Prey is that in Prey, for the most part, you're alone in that game, and there aren't that many characters that you run into, and so most of the game's story is delivered through either emails or pickups or like talking to people on the radio and things like that. But I think in that game they find enough different ways to vary up the ways in which you're receiving information that it doesn't feel too repetitive and it doesn't feel like, all right, let me just sit here and listen to a million audio logs in a row. It's like, no, you have the emails, you have pickup audio logs you can pick up, you have the radio calls, you have like X, Y, and Z thing. I think Horizon, in a game about technology, you can find a bunch of different technology in terms of, okay, cool, yeah, maybe Aloy has a cell phone or some shit in this next game that like she keeps on her that she can call people with or something like that, that keeps things a bit more active in terms of that.
And I think they'll double down on that. Like we're talking about all the things we've seen already, right? And like, you know, okay, well, you can't climb everywhere in Zero Dawn, but yeah, in Forbidden West, they make a point during that gameplay demo, right, of scanning and showing. It highlights all these different yellow handholds for her to climb up, right? And then even playing today, where forgetting I hadn't rewatched the footage yet, so I'm just playing Zero Dawn, and I got up to the top, and I that thing I couldn't find, got up there, got the last thing, and I looked off and, man, it'd be nice to jump from here. Oh, right, the new one has the glider. You're gonna be able to go that way.
Yeah,
I think you're gonna see them
eating the fall damage and just
exactly right. Using that suit that sucks up the shield.
The amount of times that I've like I janked my way through so much of that game. Like I'm like, if I just strategically slide down this area, I can avoid enough damage to like make my way down.
And I think that extends out to the fact that, yeah, so many people were like, oh, we love all the storytelling and all the stuff you put in there. It was hard to get through with it. And I think it is also like, I can't wait to see how they solve traversal, right? And I mean traversing large areas, right? In the live chat, Barrett had asked, did they confirm they're doing more than just San Francisco? And I jumped in and said yes. And if you want to run it back, Barrett, to the video when I was looking for Aaron's name or whatever, when they pull up that map, it shows 3 locations, and it shows like SF, it shows something in Mexico, and something almost like Cuba. And I imagine those are 3 places we have to, and this is Greg just guessing, but I would imagine that this is the quest they're on to get this technology to stop the blight.
We got to get to Cuba.
So I'm fascinated to see, what does that mean, right? That they're going to have to hijack? I mean, they've already shown pterodactyls and stuff. Are they going to show is she going to have to hijack or whatever?
Also,
some
one of
other
the locales
machine
is in the middle of the ocean. We're going to the middle of the ocean.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Isn't that like Cuba?
Well,
Isn't that like?
Yeah, that looks like it's like Cuba area.
Now we're getting like ahead of some of what we're going to talk about, but the water stuff. So many thoughts, much curiosity about the water.
Like, what kind of fucked up United States is this? During
blessing
when the world ended, how badly can you decimate a country?
We're about to find out in real life.
Yeah.
Have you seen
Did they terraform the planet? Did I miss that?
Hey man,
Well,
these crazy ass machines are doing whatever they want.
Also,
yeah, there were terraformers.
I think you're right. Yeah.
This is not really related, but just looking at the globe reminds me of like when she looks at like a globe in the in Zero Dawn, and Silence is like, yes, our world isn't flat. She's like, I didn't fucking think the world was flat. Like, what made you think I thought the world was flat? so many good moments in those two characters.
Silence real quick.
Okay, can we talk? Like, I don't know if we, I don't want to like ruin the flow of like bringing questions and stuff.
Yeah,
but like,
no,
I have so many
go,
things to say. Okay, Silence. Okay, I love this man because he's such an asshole. Like, okay, we're going into full spoilers here. So again, I just really want to clarify that this is going to be plot beats of this game. Like, my favorite moment in this game narratively, not the most impactful, but just like, oh my God, this game, I love it, is when you're watching the stuff and like at one point, I don't know if it's like, I don't think it's at the very end, but when you like see the death or, you're kind of witnessing and acknowledging the death of, what's the name of the scientist again? Like not Aloy's mom, but sort of kind of like DNA.
Elizabeth Sobek.
Yeah, Elizabeth, like her death, and you're seeing it. It's so impactful. It's so sad. It's like, wow, this is someone who like sacrificed everything, and like no one listened to her before, but she's just down, and you're like in it, and it's
she's like the boss from Metal Gear Solid 3.
It's like, this is sad shit. And then in like Aloy's sad, she's never really had like family, and like the one family she see, like you're just feeling all of it. And then Silence is like, well, surely you didn't think she was alive, right? And I'm like, what a read the room, Silence. Okay, yes, obviously she's dead, right? That's not even a spoiler because it's she lived like a cajillion years ago. She's dead. She's super dead. But just the fact that he said that, I'm like, this guy is such a piece of shit. I love him.
It's
I
like
love
he's
him so
like
much.
he's that dude who like always thinks he's the smartest in the room, and to some extent he is because he's the most well read because he's on this search for knowledge. But like I also like that it wraps back around to his search for knowledge is the thing that is most toxic and is
His
gonna
head
fucking
ass search for
decimate the
knowledge.
world.
He's like, you don't understand, girl. I know pre-calculus. You don't even know what's going. I'm like, bitch. So what? Like, what does this have to do with anything?
Yeah, it's like we're not in the place in the world right now where calculus is gonna help us. Everything is fucked. Like we gotta learn how to survive before we get to calculus, bro.
Yeah, like,
Shout
but
out to Silence.
I like
There he
loved
is.
everything about his character, because he was such a dick, and I feel like in this game, like I like they also give Aloy some points to be an asshole, and obviously some of that comes with like the dialogue choices
How are
and
you
stuff. I'd
choosing?
like. Oh, also, did y'all do the quest where you there's that dude who helps you with all the bandit camps? Like, did you guys do that quest where you like fight him? You like he's like, do you want to kill me right now or whatever? Like, I didn't kill
I
him, but I'm
think
like
I
so
talked
curious
him.
as to what happens.
Can you talk him out of it, or I didn't
I
kill him
just-
either?
I didn't kill him. I was just like,
Okay.
I'm not gonna do that. That's fucking weird. And he's like, it's all good, man. I'll see you later. Like it was so
Oh,
much stuff.
Weird, awkward. Hold on. And I was going and I got it. Dane Hansen wrote in about that very specific character, and because we're talking about the fears for Forbidden West, your hopes and fears. Under fears, Dane wrote in and said, NPCs who act like I know them. This is more on me than the game, but apparently there is a dude you're supposed to take out bandit camps with. First time I played this game, I don't recall ever seeing this dude. Get to the end of the game, and there's a mission where you go talk to him. Was really weird for me to show up to this mission at the end of the game and have this dude talk about all the adventures we had been on. And I'm sitting there like suffering from amnesia saying, you don't even go here. Also, Souls combat. Happy that y'all enjoy it, but I don't. Those are the two things he doesn't want. But yeah, tossing that guy or whatever in terms of, yeah.
Wait, you think Souls combat?
What are your fears? He doesn't want Souls combat in this.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Like parrying. Oh God, I fucking don't want to parry.
You're
bad
not gonna get that.
Every game's parry is different, and I'm bad at almost all of them, and I can't do it. So
Yeah, I love
And one of
parry.
the things here, like, and I know you already brought up the triangle over and over again. I hope they like give up ground and just take over, like putting circle to be dodge or whatever. There was a couple in like how to go into stealth mode and stuff here. I think it's square. There's a bunch of buttons that for 2017, your first RPG, okay, whatever, this makes sense. But playing it now, I'm like, oh, this is not the usual scheme for doing any of this stuff. Like, just steal Assassin's Creed and be done with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want if we're talking about hopes and dreams, one that I don't want to step on this person's answer, but I want to read their answer and then hop off of it because this is something that I kind of vibe with too.
Before you do that, then let me tell you about patreon.com/kindafunnygames, where of course you could go to write in and be the person Blessing's about to tear to shreds. Of course, you could also be watching the show live, just like Omega 3, Waluigi, my dog Nick 96, Bander SN, and so many others are. They're all troglodytes. If you could also get the ad free, already said, post show, all that jazz. You know what I'm talking about. But most important for right now, you can get the show ad free. Speaking of ads, here's Tim Geddes.
This episode is brought to you by HelloFresh. Sticking to your New Year's resolutions can be hard, but if you're focusing on saving money by ordering less takeout, learning to cook, or prioritizing your wellness, smashing your goals is a piece of cake with HelloFresh. HelloFresh has endless options to make cooking at home simple and enjoyable by delivering pre-portioned ingredients to your door, including farm-fresh produce that arrives within a week. HelloFresh has 50 menu and market items to choose from every single week, including some more family-friendly or gourmet choices. Kevin Coelho, Paula Coelho, they've been loving HelloFresh. They, of course, Paula, being a vegetarian, like the options of having the vegetarian stuff, and they've been having some fantastic meals over there in their Coelho household. Go to HelloFresh.com/KindaFunny16 and use code KindaFunny16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. That's HelloFresh.com/KindaFunny16 and use code KindaFunny16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts.
All right, Blessing, we're back to you. The floor is yours.
Yeah.
Wait,
so
who are you going to read from?
I'm going to read from Dane Hansen, who wrote into.
I'm going to fill my water.
All right, go fill your water. And
keep
like,
going.
I mean, I know a lot of people's pet peeve, probably when it comes to talking about Horizon Zero Dawn critically, is the comparisons to Breath of the Wild, which I totally understand. And so if you're annoyed at this, I totally get you, and you're not wrong. But I am still gonna pull from Dane and hop off of it. Here, Dane writes, I want more open air world design, as Nintendo likes to put it. When I played Breath of the Wild, I enjoyed seeing things off in a distance and then being drawn in to check it out. Horizon, you need a map to find what you were looking for. I only had one Zelda-like exploration moment in this game. Collecting a Bannock figure in the northwest corner of the map takes you to this overlook of a desert area, which is beautiful, but also allows you to see things like a tall neck patrolling in the distance and makes you want to immediately jump down and start running towards it. I want more moments like that in Forbidden West. I want to explore the world myself, not by looking for marked points on a map. And this kind of goes back to what I was talking about a bit with the things that I look forward to in an open world and kind of what I gravitate toward versus what I don't gravitate towards. And I'm not the kind of person that really likes looking at a map and looking at the icons and then exploring based on those icons on a map. I like being able to have that look around. All right, I want to go that direction, and things happen as they happen. And to not even like use Breath of the Wild as an example, even though I think that's kind of an easy one to give. I would also use Ghost of Tsushima as an example, where that is a game that is similar in terms of it's a very structured, very traditional open world game, but I liked how much effort they put into, if you wanted to just hang out in the open world, you can. When you swipe up on the gamepad, you get the wind that'll guide you to whatever your objective is, so that you're not always looking at a map the whole time on your way to a place, or looking at some kind of compass marker to lead you. I like that they have the foxes that'll guide you to a place. I like that they have the birds that'll guide you to a place, and that open world felt like an open world that really did want you to hang out and get lost and just go with the flow. And I that is a thing that I really do hope that Horizon Forbidden West does, because I think they have the opportunity to do it. I think they can do it, and I do think it's one of the things that is just a little bit missing from her, or at least was for me missing from Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, I think that would be a good call out too. Like I do think that's probably next to the diversity of combat within Ghost in terms of the stances, which I would argue only really starts to sing once you have all those stances, but that's kind of a separate thing. That's probably the thing that Ghost does the best, is the integration of being able to explore and feel like you're discovering something, but also being able to lean back on the map itself, which just gives you all that information straight out. On that note too, one thing that I sort of wasn't the biggest fan of is I really like games that allow you to do almost all of it 100% completion without a guide. And I think Horizon selling you like map locations for certain collectibles was totally that. But I really wanted maybe the ability to buy like an armor that would help me with some of that detection too, which I know is kind of Breath of the Wild, but a lot of games do that, where they have master armor that like maybe vibrate or glow or something, because the map locations weren't like hyper specific. They were like this kind of general area. So I found myself kind of going in circles for a lot of that part. And on that note too, even with like the outfits, I think the outfits are the thing I ran out of interest in the quickest, because it took me a while before I started really spending money, because I'm neurotic in games and in life, and I'm like, I don't want to buy anything. So by the time I bought armor, I was buying like the purple armor sets already. So I bought like, and honestly, there's only like 2 that are like that useful, and then that's kind of it. But I bought some of them just because I'm like, well, I want to use these materials for something. So I think finding more ways to lend itself towards that exploration, like even if it's through something like the armor, which the closest you get with that is like having armor that's more stealth based or something, would be beneficial, just so that I felt like I was working towards something. Because I will say, in terms of resources, it did get to the point like when I still had maybe a good chunk of the game left to go, especially doing the platinum run, where I'm like, I have all this stuff and I don't know what to spend it on, but I'm worried that someone randomly is going to want this freaking, like elephant lens or some shit, right? Like, and it's like, I don't want to sell it, because what if you need this to craft me a scarf or some shit? I don't know what's going to happen in this game. And on that note too, I want more ways to store shit. Maybe I shouldn't be such a hoarder, but like, let me pay a lot of money. I'll give you how many shards for a box that I can put some shit into, because I'm just 100%. Dropping resources on the ground, and I like the scavenging part, and like I think it feeds well to a degree, but I would like more ways to mess with that, because sometimes you don't know what you need until later, and it'd be cool if it facilitated that a little bit more.
As you were talking about the outfits, I had a flashback to I thought I read something about how they're changing outfits in Horizon Forbidden West based on like adding skills to them and stuff. So as you were talking about, I went on a quick Google, and I found here an article from Game Rant talking about how skills are essentially working with outfits in the game. I'm gonna read just a little bit from Stan Hogwig from Game Ramp, and this is published like December 1st, 2021, so not even that long ago. But in their article, they write, with every piece of information that Guerrilla Games reveals, Horizon Forbidden West looks more different from the first game. Aloy has a grappling hook now. The polecaster will allow Aloy to ascend to new heights, which we haven't talked about, and the polecaster looks really cool. Slip out of the grasp of enemies, and even manipulate her terrain. There's also a plethora of new weapons for Aloy to wield in Horizon Forbidden West, like the spike thrower, as well as special attacks like the explosive Resonator Blast. All of these items will come in handy as Aloy encounters a wealth of new items, both human and machine, as she explores the Forbidden West. Of course, Aloy isn't just getting new weapons. Guerrilla has also teased new armor in Horizon Forbidden West, but they're not just tweaked versions of Zero Dawn's armor. In Horizon Forbidden West, the clothes that Aloy wears will apparently modify her skill set and potentially even grant her wholly new skills. In other words, switching between outfits in Horizon Forbidden West will have much bigger implications for Aloy's playstyle than it did in Zero Dawn, although Guerrilla hasn't been very specific about how outfit skills work and what the new skill tree looks like. There's a ton of potential in the coming changes. But like reading that reminds me of a bit of Spider-Man Remastered, or I guess Spider-Man 2018, where you would get a new suit, and then with that suit you would get an ultimate ability. I'm sure it won't be one for one for that, but I do like the idea of, oh yeah, there's a bigger reason to get new suits outside of like what felt like incremental change-ups between.
And that's what I would want, because like I found myself buying armor that like I don't really need this. Like I can't even mod this to be better than my existing armor, because like there's one armor piece that has like 2 or 3 mod slots and inherently comes with base plus 15 buffs on all elemental damage. So I'm like, this is the best armor until you get like the super armor that you can unlock using, I don't know, you have to like find all these stupid things hidden throughout the world. That was the only part of the game that I didn't like, to get like the ultimate shield armor. But like I bought what I call like Hot Girl Aloy, like that little outfit. It's like, it's meant for like the heat or whatever, but it's like a little crop piece. And I wore that for a little bit because I'm like, what's cute? You know, this is nice, and I don't really need the buffs anyway because I'm super over leveled. But I'm like, man, like this is just, I'm wearing an inferior armor just because it looks cute, which is, I don't have a beef with, but it'd be nice if you could spec that in a more meaningful way.
It's the same thing, like, you know, I can't believe games still don't do it, but transmog. Like if you're doing this kind of open world, we're playing an RPG, action RPG for 60 hours, let me just take looks and apply them to the stuff, because that's what I want. I couldn't believe, like, Assassin's Creed Odyssey did it so well because there were so many different pieces in there. And I remember when Valhalla launched and didn't have it, it was like, are you fucking kidding me? And since they've gone back and added it through the blacksmith, it's the same thing here, where I'm right there with you, Janet, where there's, hold on, I haven't actually pulled it right in front of me. You know, the first thing I ever got or went and bought, right, was the outfit that makes her look like the closest possible to Batgirl, Shadow Stalwart Light, right? And I wore that forever, and I'm swapping in the modification, but it's like, it wasn't what I wanted, but I would still be running. I'd still be running that. If I could apply that look to Shield Weaver, that's what I would have played as, right? And it's the same thing when you look at like the Oseram Arrow Breaker Heavy. You probably don't remember what that one is. It's the one that looks like she's wearing a fucking diaper on her head. Why is she wearing this fucking child shit diaper on her head?
Okay,
like,
that's
you know what I mean?
how
like,
the tribe looks, okay? So that's why the armor, it's the armor of that tribe.
I don't give a shit for the narrative purpose.
Yes.
Let me put, there's Batgirl. That's what I'm talking about.
Batgirl, yes.
That's cool.
Yeah. On that note too, one thing that I found, and I feel like a lot of my criticisms of Horizon Zero Dawn, which there aren't too many, or a lot of like small quality of life tweaks, I think would just help amplify like what's good about the game. And one of those is, you know, you have your different combat with like human enemies and machines, and the combat essentially functions the same, but you know, it's more likely that like you're gonna, you know, maybe take melee or range damage fighting like a human enemy than a machine enemy, stuff like that. I would often put freaking corruption buffs because sometimes they had corrupted machines with them, stuff like that. So I did find that I had like a different loadouts for different things, but the game doesn't actually facilitate a way to utilize those loadouts. You have to kind of manually go in and say, okay, well, I'm going into maybe a cold area. Let me put on an armor that is more, which they have this, you know, armor that helps against freezing like damage. But then let me switch out to my environmental arrows because I can only put those arrows on a certain bow. And it was a lot of just having to like manually respec that. And I don't exactly know like the best way to integrate that UI wise to make it not super convoluted, but I just found there wasn't like an easy way for me I kind of crafted these loadouts in my head and I had to just kind of remember them as I moved through the game. And obviously you can get through it without being that thoughtful, but I found being that thoughtful to be part of the fun. So I'm like, let me use what you gave me to use in a way that's more naturally integrated.
100%. Yeah, I think that would be a big one for me too. And I'm interested. I'm glad you're able to find that so quick, Bless. Yeah, of like what they're gonna do and how they're gonna do that. Because again, I think like Guerrilla knows what we loved and what we didn't like about this game, and I think you see it already in the updates to Zero Dawn, let alone what we're gonna get here. And like, yeah, you talked about the not the rope caster, but the one we've seen for Forbidden West. That is like
I think it's called the pole caster.
Is it? It's the one that basically is just like a grappling hook, right?
Yeah.
So you jump off of stuff and you can shoot it and like fly right over there. Again, making traversal what you'd expect probably from a 2021 game in terms of running around having these crazy ass weapons and these cool things to do.
Yeah, because I think Horizon is like a good a good candidate to get a little bit more, I guess, gamified for the actual gameplay of it, and but like in the opposite end, right? Lean more into the RPG when it comes to the quests and when it comes to the world. And I think we're definitely seeing that, because I think it is called the pole caster, that is the grappling hook. Watching gameplay and watching it be like, oh yeah, she jumps and she like grapple hooks her way up to a ledge, right? Yeah. And then like it tries to get around an enemy, and so like she jumps off and then glides her way around. And like seeing that gameplay, I think just looks so fun. It looks so satisfying. And even to talk about enemies a bit, right? Like the way they're explaining those too, and the ways that enemies seem to be a bit more dynamic. They've shown the specific enemy I want to call out. I don't know, Barrett probably has it in one of these clips here if you're able to find it as I'm describing it. But there's essentially a big robot monster enemy that has humans on top of it, riding it and commanding it. And the way it, like, that wasn't a thing. I don't recall that ever being a thing in Horizon Zero Dawn. So
she was the only one who could ride it, yeah, and that's why in the trailer she's like, "Wow, humans working with machines."
Yeah, and so like the way it operates as humans are commanding it, I think one creates like an interesting, like, oh shit, now I'm fighting human enemies and machine enemies at the same time.
What? If you're watching the video version of this, you are missing out on some just S tier trolling from Barrett.
Yeah, Barrett's on S tier.
I'm just saying, I'm a pretty good video producer. I'm just saying.
You're a great video producer.
Barrett's been doing great
I will
today.
say though, in defense of that troll, this is what I mean when like people will ask. I think, I understand the frustrations, like Blessing already mentioned. If you're like, I'm tired of hearing about Breath of the Wild with Horizon, they're different games. Yes, but you cannot deny that there are comparison points there, okay? Like, let's not pretend. Like, and the truth is, all games have something in common with other games because they're all in conversation with each other design-wise. So yeah, sure. Maybe it's.
It is
a very extreme example, but there's so many examples.
It is funny how like specific that is, though. Like that is a very so specific.
I would have never thought to pull that up.
They're both in the trailer too. Like both new features for these games that like, yeah, they both have enemies that are riding their monster creatures. But yeah, Horizon has a similar thing. And like it looked like if you were to take out the weak spot of that enemy, which would be like what the enemies are strapped onto, right? If you're able to take out the human enemies on top of that machine, I believe the machine will can probably attack and control differently after that, which I think is just cool, right? It seems like there's a lot they're doing to it, let alone the different weapons. Right now in the video, you're seeing Aloy use like the gooey kind of weapon,
gooey.
She
oh my god,
it's like in the lob
sticky
thrower,
icky, if you will. But
she put the sticky icky in the lob thrower and throws it at the enemy, and it traps them in place. Like, yeah. I love seeing all this shit. And again, I think it speaks to what we're talking about in terms of them understanding all the things that we want from Horizon, and like going hard at it. And so like again, yeah, all this shit looks really good to me. Gets me really excited. So yeah, that's where they fell off, and I think the enemy kind of behaved a little bit differently after that.
Yeah, one of the things we've been talking about, but I want to get in here under the hopes for Forbidden West. Emmett Watkins Jr. wrote in and said, "I want the traversal to have just as much freedom and improvisational choices as the combat. The ability to climb anything and the glider seems to imply this will be the case, though. And of course, I'd like to see that. I hope the story is either similarly impactful to the first, or like The Last of Us Part 2, so aggressively subverts my expectations that I can't help but be captivated." I also think that's a fascinating point too when we talk about Forbidden West. Again, to go back 5 years and watch all the KindaFunny stuff I had done for this, like I come back from playing it in LA to give my report on it, right? And it's interesting of like, oh right, like we're not going to have a preview event, and sure, there's COVID, blah 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 blah, but like there's no preview to my knowledge happening anytime soon, especially not in person. Maybe we'll get code super early and be embargoed up to a point, but I also think it's fascinating still that we've only seen really San Francisco. You've seen San Francisco, you've seen underwater, you've seen some. I really wonder how visually varied the environments are going to be and how different they're going to be, because I would imagine you're only showing that so you can wow people when they start playing it as to what you're going to get into, where you're going to go, and how it's actually going to go. I think even having the conversation with Aaron where he's like, I did find before they captured me, I found the thing you sent me on. I like this idea that Aloy is kind of like running an army or whatever, or at least a gang of mercenaries, right? That she's sending out to do stuff. Yeah, Aloy's army. That's going to be the next VR spinoff for it.
It's like, it was crazy when we went to outer space, right? Like that's what they weren't showing in these trailers the whole time.
Can you believe that it turns out Europe totally normal. We're the only ones that got set back. They stopped. They walled everything off. They're living in year 3000. We're still here.
You get there,
BC.
you're like, oh hey, what's up? Like, why are you dressed like that?
Fancy a spot of tea.
This is a thing I talked about during the state of play that we got spring last year, where after that state of play, one of my requests that I wanted to see more of was like, I want to see more of the world. What does exploring the world look like? How's that expanded since the last game? And it seems like they've not really gone into that aside from some PlayStation blog posts. And on one hand, I was looking forward to seeing that information. On the other hand, I do kind of like it because it reminds me of the lead up to Fallout 4, where they did the big E3 blowout for Fallout 4, where it was like 20 minutes of Bethesda just talking about that game. And then it was nothing until the game actually came out. And there was this air of mystery of like, oh, like, what's it going to be? Like, when you play this game, like, what's the world going to be like? And I actually really like that. And I wish more open world games actually went for that, because I like, I guess, exploring and uncovering a world alongside everybody else and kind of getting that conversation afterwards of like, oh, did you check out this area? Oh no, but went over here, and like, you won't believe what's on the top left of the map. I love that. And so I kind of hope that they keep that going into it. And I want to have those moments of like, dude, when I got to Cuba, you won't imagine what happened.
For sure. Like, that's the thing.
It's the same soundtrack as the one from the last Far Cry. You just hear Havana play in the background. This is weird.
Danny picks you up in a little helicopter and takes you everything. No, there's that, and it's something you saw with Zero Dawn too, where Zero Dawn, obviously an amazing game, but very samey from a visual palette, right? That was one of the things that was cool about Frozen Wilds when they announced that and showed that, of like, okay, cool, snow, something different, a different look to where you're going. Like,
there's some cactuses. Some cacti.
It's true, some cacti out there.
Yeah,
I think it's a particular choice on purpose for what you're going to get with this one. And I can't wait to see. This is all nerdy stuff, but I can't wait to see the HUD. I can't wait to see the way menus look. Like, menus look so basic in Horizon Zero Dawn.
When they pull up the weapon menu in the Forbidden West trailer, even that alone, I was like, oh, I like this. I like how this looks as an upgrade from Zero Dawn.
For sure. Anything else?
A prediction. Do we get a co-op mode post-launch? Because this is a thing that was rumored a little bit like a while ago in terms of their ideas for Horizon 2. I think one of the ideas that ended up getting thrown out was making it co-op and online. And we've seen with Ghost of Tsushima, a few months after that, we got Ghost of Tsushima Legends, which is the 2021 game of the year. Whatever the year that came out was, the Blessing Show game of the year.
It came out in 2020, but then it got re-released in 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's confusing. Are you going to play it as, like, if you're doing co-op, are you going to be playing as this dude? I don't want to play as this guy.
Erend. There's Erend.
I'd be totally down to play as Erend. That'd be dope as hell.
I like his little mohawk. I don't like his facial hair going on here. It's weird. It's a choice.
Hey, what if you did co-op? What if, here's the thing, what if, again, for this mode, of course, Horizon Forbidden West : Aloy's army. What if you don't get to play as Aloy? What if you have to pick one of her underlings? You know, you've been sent off these missions. Yeah, you have to be the army. Yeah,
I'm down with it.
I think I could see that happening. I don't know if it's going to, but one thing that I get the sense of, just given the news that we got last week from PSVR 2 and that kind of being the thing they headlined with, to me that communicates like Horizon is not only here to stay, but like we consider this to be very much in our inner circle staple. And we're for better or worse, you will be getting more Horizon content and you're going to like it, and you're going to love it, and you're going to be excited about it. Like, they want you to see that. And I think they still had that impact even with just having Zero Dawn and the hype of Forbidden West. But like, being like PSVR 2, here's a tall neck, they're like, you should be getting hyped for this. And I think if you're not already, they're going to want you to. So I think they're going to do as much as they possibly can to continue feeding in that narrative of like, be excited about Horizon because it has lots of stuff to offer.
Here's my thing. I'm looking at an article right now from VG 24/7, and this article was published September 29th, 2021, right? It's titled, and this is written by Sheriff Saeed. It's titled Horizon Forbidden West Guerrilla Games is hiring for a multiplayer project. And it basically goes into how like how they are looking for like a senior social systems designer and a senior narrative systems designer and stuff for a multiplayer game. I think, and of course this could be anything, right? This doesn't have to be Horizon, but the idea of a Horizon game that is a bit close, and Greg, you would know more about how this would work than me because I'm not a Monster Hunter person, but a Horizon like Monster Hunter type game where it is you and your friends going through hunting certain big enemies and like collecting their parts to bring them back to like build a village or something like that. I don't know, man.
Do that.
I agree. That sounds awesome. I feel like that needs to be a standalone thing, rather
which
than just
I feel like the fact that I'm like that sounds awesome. I know is sending so many of my Monster Hunter fan friends into a spiral. They're like, you can do that now, and I'm like, I don't understand what is up with that dragon. Like, it's too hard. I move too slow. But like, that's what I liked about. I mean, that's what I liked about, that's the best part of Horizon Zero Dawn. You're out here engaging with like these like monster robot animals. Like, it's super fun. Like, and even the live chat and playing people on social have mentioned this to me as I've been playing and streaming and tweeting out about it. But yeah, like the fun of overriding a machine and then another machine and just watching the machines fight from the grass, like that is unparalleled. That's why it took me so long to beat the game. I'm like, I am slowly, every step of the way, like, I'm just going to start overriding things and let everybody kill each other. And then I'm slowly going to pick everything up. And I'm going to go back to my, I named so many locations in this game Cheese Rock because I'd find these little rocks to hide behind. I'm like, we're going to plant like 80 little things. I'm like, do you think I fought that thing that goes underground and comes back up? I wasn't fighting that. I was cheesing the hell out of that. I was slowly burning it.
That's a legitimate strategy and why it was so cool. You could play it how you wanted to play it. I love that idea.
Yeah, like that's definitely like some of my favorite highlights of my time with it. If we're talking about hopes, I do have notes that I wrote down that I gave up on writing because I got tired of writing. But I want, I already mentioned the last.
Like a true writer.
Yes, I was like, I'm going to document so many of my feelings, and then I'm like, I like the game. We'll just chit chat about it. Less convoluted weapon close mod system I already mentioned. More like stuff with your spear and like the melee combat. Because I was expecting, like, surely my spear is going to, be way more powerful. And that never happened, really. And I was like, I platinumed it. So I guess we just never really. I mean, obviously you get, like, oh, here, take mine. It has the ability to kill Hades. But, like, I didn't really feel the difference, like, in the moment to moment. For sure. Let me pet the machines. I have a rideable mount. Why can't I give it some pets? I don't understand.
Good.
I would like, this is a little cheap and a little controversial. Can someone heal me, or can I heal for free in some context? I kind of want that. I don't know if that's just me. I know there's health everywhere.
Out of combat, like when you're just walking around after you've gone through a battle.
Just anywhere. Give me any type.
Yeah, I guess there's not really another way to heal aside from your green stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm just eating leaves all day.
But there's so many of them.
Right, but like they get full up, and then if you're like getting your ass whooped, you're gonna have to eat through all these leaves, and then it's like, do I drink a potion just to do it?
A campfire should heal you.
Just it don't even gotta be just somewhere. Make the fire blue. I don't know what you want to do, but something somewhere someone should heal me. More cosmetic options I think would be fun. If you had some type of either home or home base to decorate or something. I know this is just Breath of the Wild or Sim stuff. A better way to hunt the actual animals, like not the machines, because when I tell you one of the few things I Googled in terms of guide help in this game was where the fuck to find these goddamn rats, because they're like, oh, we need rats. And I know where to find rats more than anyone on the fucking internet at this point in this game, because I had to find so fucking many of them. Better lore integration. I'm not reading a 500 word about this coffee table from a million years ago. Just give me the cliff notes. I want a diary. I like that her quest log has like, the last things you did, so I could refresh myself if I stopped playing. But like, I want some type of, especially with all the tribal politics, like it took me a long time to try to get my footing of like, okay, well, there's a Sun King and there's the old Sun King and he was evil, but this one's good, but other people don't fuck with him. And there's the Shadow Karja and the regular Karja. Write something down. Like, I don't know.
One of the interesting things I liked that I hadn't thought much about that Yusef called out on things he hopes for Forbidden West was this. From a story standpoint, I want to find out what Silence is planning with Hades. What is it that he really wants? If they want to tell us a past storyline again, focusing on what's happening in the West, I'd be down for that. But I'd also hope they spend some self-introspection time with Aloy now that she knows she's a clone of Elizabeth. Aloy always had a very strong sense of self-worth and felt like she really knew herself. Does that revolution change how she views herself? How does she reconcile that knowledge with her own opinion of herself? I love that thread. Because again, like, to find out you're a clone of somebody, the clone of the person who did this thing, then to, go there, spoilers, in the final moments, right? And like, be with her and at her dead body and outside her childhood home or whatever. Listen to her, like, say what she would want in a daughter, which is clearly what Aloy became.
So
that shit was fire.
Like, it was awesome, but I'm with you, Janet, that I want, and you, Yusef, that I want, whether it's audio dialogue conversations or a journal, I want to see her wrestle with that in this game. Blessing.
This is a little bit different from what you're specifically talking about, but it's on the same thread of the idea of a journal just to keep track of information. I of course started Mass Effect 2 recently, and also Mass Effect 1 have this, but the Mass Effect games have the codex that go through and talk about, hey, these are the different races of people. These are the different planets. This is everything you need to know about the world, and this is how these races of aliens relate to these other races. Right? You go in there, and it tells you every single thing that you need to know about the world you exist in. That way, they can just get to the good stuff in the story. I think Horizon would benefit a lot from that, because another one of my small complaints that I have with it is that there is such a focus on jargon in Horizon Zero Dawn in terms of these are these people, here's the Karcha, here's like XYZ thing, and I feel like for so many of the dialogue sequences, there's a random word or some words thrown in there where I'm like, all right, yeah, what's that again? Oh yeah, remind me what like Hades is, or what a daemon is, or what like any of this stuff is. It would be nice to be able to go into a codex just as a quick reminder, especially for hopping back into the game for the Frozen Wilds DLC after being away from the game after 2 years, right? It is so useful to have something like that, and I really do think with as much jargon and as much as going on in the world of Horizon, I think it's absolutely needed, some kind of codex or journal.
For sure. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, Horizon Forbidden West is well, I guess when you get this tomorrow, a month away. February 18th, 2022. I can't fucking wait.
Are they gonna do a state of play? Is it too late?
It's never too late for a state of play.
It's never too late, because whatever. Okay, here's what I'll say. Let's say they're not doing one, because tomorrow that means they're going to announce, the Horizon State of Play. Because again, they're like, someone's listening, someone's scheduling things intentionally
like waiting for us to go live to click the button.
Yes, like, so let's say no, and then we'll get one next week or something.
I like that.
But yeah. Also, I really quick before we move on, I'm excited for the more like writable mounts in the next game, because I was kind of bummed that you only really had like one, and I really wanted to I forgot what the name. I was trying to Google it really quick. The name of the ones that look like deer, like they have the blast canisters on their backs.
Yeah.
I wanted to like ride one of those, and I couldn't. And like someone in chat pointed out, where would you sit on them, because they have all the blast canisters? It's a game. I don't know. None of this is real. Like I could just do that. So
lance horn? Are you talking about a lance horn?
Yeah, they're so cute. I had to kill so many of them because I ran out of blast canisters like consistently. That was the only thing I never had.
Maybe a grazer. Maybe you're talking about a grazer.
Yes, yes, yeah. They would just
I want to ride one of those big old mammoths.
Yeah.
Me and Ayla's
I want to have. I don't think we're gonna have this. And again, I just keep asking for like sim shit, but like sim shit's very popular in plenty of games. But like, let me have like a fucking farm. Let me have an animal farm. That's what I want.
Have you heard about this game called Genshin Impact?
Oh, I have heard about it.
Horizon Forbidden West is out in a month, February 18th, 2022. Of course, we'll be talking all about it. We'll review it on the Gamescast. We'll have a whole bunch of stuff leading up to that. Don't forget, too, Horizon Call of the Mountain coming to PlayStation VR 2 one of these days, whenever that one comes out. But until then, you'll have to wait and see. Blessing, give me some PlayStation updates.
Yeah, I only have like a couple of quick hits for you. Let's start with Firesprite taking over Twisted Metal. This is Andy Robinson at Video Games Chronicle. PlayStation's newly acquired Firesprite Studio has taken over Lucid Games' unannounced Twisted Metal reboot and poached its game director, VGC understands. VGC reported earlier this week, and this is last week, that Destruction All-Star Studio Lucid had ceased development on a reboot of the classic car combat series. We now understand that UK-based Firesprite, which was acquired by Sony last year, is the developer which has taken over the Twisted Metal project. And so cool for Twisted Metal, but also like, what does it mean for Lucid Lucid Studio? Not great stuff.
Not a great look. Not a great look for sure. Coming off of Destruction All Stars, right? Where it's like a game that they were originally going to sell you for $70, then they gave you free after delaying it, and then nobody played it after they got it. So
yeah. So I see that they're putting Firesprite to work, right? Call of the Mountain, and then
for sure.
This like that's a pretty quick turnaround in terms of we're acquiring you and now we're making you do stuff for us. And so
you're doing big stuff for us. Yeah.
Doing big stuff. Yeah. And so it looks like you can look forward to more from Firesprite in terms of like them continuing to be a force at PlayStation, as long as this stuff hits. If this stuff doesn't hit, then we'll see. But they're also a very big studio, so I'm sure we'll see more from them. That's the first quick hit for you. The second quick hit I have for you is Sony pulling PlayStation Now cards from retail stores. This is James Batchelor at GamesIndustry.biz. Sony is removing physical voucher cards for its PlayStation Now subscription service from retail stores. GameSpeak claims an internal message sent to staff at UK retailer Game orders that all PlayStation Now cards be removed by the end of Wednesday, January 19th. There are also claims that retailers in the US and Canada began removing these items several weeks ago. A Sony spokesperson confirmed the change to GameSpeak. Quote, globally, we are moving from PlayStation Now gift cards to focus on our current cash denomination PlayStation gift cards, which can be redeemed for PlayStation Now, the spokesperson said. Janet, of course, a few weeks ago, we did our PlayStation Now, by a few weeks ago, I mean like over a month ago, we did our PlayStation Now review. It seems like PlayStation Now is becoming PlayStation previous, PlayStation then, PlayStation before.
Yep.
PlayStation.
It's funny every time you make this joke. Do I buy that?
This is only
Yeah,
the
of
second
course.
time I made this joke. Well, no, third if you count Twitter.
Yeah, I follow you on Twitter, so it's just. But you know,
I've
what?
seen it all
For
before.
For the sake of the show, I'll be like, oh my god, that's the first time I'm hearing this. Yeah, I mean, I think that's par for the course, right? Like that makes sense. I would be pretty shocked if the rumored, PlayStation Spartacus wasn't true, and this by extension kind of feeds more into the truth of that. And now it's just a question of, as we predicted already, like when do we think we're going to actually hear, tangible official news on what's next for this kind of line of their market?
Yeah, we had a whole discussion, me and Tim, about Project Spartacus and what it is and all this stuff. This feels like it's coming sooner than later, right? I think we 100%. Did our predictions recently of like when do you think it's going to come around, and I really do. Like I could see the announcement coming soon, and like it being rolled out maybe first week of
that blog post could post any day now.
It's in the WordPress drafts. I don't think they run on WordPress.
If this posts tomorrow, we're sorry. All right, it's a Monday here. Tuesdays when they like to post stuff sometimes.
Exactly.
But it's definitely coming soon, and it's definitely gonna come in and eat up PlayStation Now. And I also think it just makes business sense. Like, how confusing do you want your credit or your gift cards to be at the CVS, right? You don't.
Yeah.
Here's your kid, your uncle, whoever plays on a PlayStation. There's a PlayStation card there that you can load with money to give them to spend on whatever the hell they want to. That's easier than there's a PlayStation Now card and a PlayStation Plus card and a PlayStation Bucks card.
Do you, John? I have to apologize for you for a quick second.
It's about time somebody apologized for Janet Garcia. I've been keeping them build up the things I need to apologize for.
Wait till you hear about how my Uncharted 4 playthroughs go later.
Hey, I saw you say you're the one you enjoy the most so far.
Okay, first, just because y'all follow me on Twitter doesn't mean you can spoil the content, okay? All right, go ahead. What's up, Blessing?
The other day I got an email that was, hey, you've been charged for your third month of PlayStation Now. And I was like, fuck, I've still not canceled this thing. And I've been paying monthly for PlayStation Now for the last 3 months. I only meant to buy 1 month. And now I'm becoming Janet Garcia, where like at this point I could have just bought the 3-month deal and have gotten a deal, or a 1-year deal at this point. With
Did
the
you
$10
cancel it
a
at
month I'm spending. No, I'm not canceling it yet.
It takes
I'm too lazy.
seconds.
I canceled my PlayStation. As soon as this news came out, I'm like, I'm canceling this PlayStation Now because I'll just wait for whatever the next thing is going to be.
I keep meaning to, but it's so like insignificant in my mind, PlayStation Now, that I keep forgetting that's the thing.
Calm down, Moneybags. Like you're like, what's $10 to me, man? Fuck it.
Oh man, that $10 is a lot. Actually, it's a lot. I could use that for like half a DoorDash order in San Francisco.
Yeah, or more games that you won't play. That you'll say that you're going to play.
How fucking dare you? What did I do to deserve this?
You said I was rude, but you didn't say I was incorrect. We all do it. Like, downloading's half the battle.
Last one for you for PlayStation updates. God of War slaying on PC. This is Andy Robinson at Video Games Chronicle. God of War's PC version attracted around 60,000 concurrent players on Steam on its release day. That's according to data published by SteamDB, which at the time of publishing shows that the Sony Santa Monica title has so far reached 65,276 concurrent players. At number 22, God of War was unable to break Steam's top 20 games on Friday in terms of concurrent players, but it's worth noting that virtually all of the titles above it on release day were multiplayer games. The figure is higher than Sony's other big first-party PC releases, Horizon Zero Dawn, which peaked at 56,557 on its release day, and then Days Gone managed 27,450. Because these are Steam-only figures, they do not include sales of PlayStation's PC games on the Epic Game Store, where Days Gone, Horizon, and God of War are all available. Big news for God of War and PlayStation games on PC, right? I think we keep asking the question of like, is it possible that we'll see soon PlayStation games released day and date? And of course, that's still like way up in the air, right? I think that's still a far-flung future. But
I see this Paris Lily from the KindaFunny XCast holding Twitter Spaces left and right about it. Oh, this is what they should do. This is the good business. It needs to be day and date PC and PlayStation 5. Do you agree, Blessing?
I think one day, yeah. Like I think it makes sense for everybody involved for PlayStation games to be on PC. I think right now the benefit that PlayStation has is the PlayStation strategy is, hey, PlayStation first party games are PlayStation first, and that is how you sell consoles, and I think that's how they perceive it, right? That these are going to sell the actual PlayStation 5
For sure.
Boxes. And so I think right now I understand why they don't do it. And then also when games eventually do come to PC, you have people double dip, right? And buy God of War again or buy Uncharted again, and that's probably a decent number for them in terms of getting those repeated sales for the customers. But I think one day it won't make as much sense anymore. I think you're seeing enough shifting, especially on the Xbox side, of like, no, we're pretty good putting things out in both places at once, that like I think it's going to become more normalized. And I think you might see more pressure from the audience being like, yo, like it'd be nice if I could play God of War Ragnarok on my widescreen monitor with DLSS and all these other benefits they can get off of PC. And it seems like there was an interview recently from Cory Barlog talking about how the PlayStation developers like having their games on PC.
Oh, for sure.
It was from the developer level speaking to PlayStation that made PlayStation go, all right, we'll put your games on PC. And I think if there's enough people speaking up on that level, maybe we'll see it. But
see, I think it's gonna. I don't discount that. Yeah, one day and date, PlayStation and PC. Yes, that's a future that could happen. I don't think it's going to be soon, and I'm not ready to put an expiration date on soon for you. But I would say in the next few years, because I think number one, it's what you said. They're making these games to sell the PlayStation 5 to get you to buy this expensive machine and put it in your house and have it, right? It's almost when I feel like they get to the end of the road where there's no juice left to get out of the orange that they're like, all right, now we'll put it on PC. But the real problem to bring it all the way back is, I feel if you were to say, all right, cool, we're going to do day and date, I think PC players are going to expect the crazy shit they're getting out of God of War and the widescreen and all this crazy ass support. And I think they wouldn't do that because they're trying to make it on par with the PlayStation 5 version. And if they did do that, then suddenly the PC version's better than the PlayStation 5 version. Why would I buy the PlayStation 5? Like, I think PlayStation is going to continue until they need to spread them out this way. Because I also think it goes really far that since 2018, people have been, oh, God of War is my favorite game all the time. Oh, God of War is this thing in the front. Oh, God of War is a 10 out of, like, there's so much fucking hype that you get to a point that they put it out, and guess what? Bam, it's the biggest game, or their biggest concurrent game, right? Like, it's this huge deal. And there was a resurgence of press and talk and gamers talking about God of War.
It's not only free marketing, it's marketing that you get paid for when you put out God of War 2018 on PC in January, leading into God of War Ragnarok possibly coming out later this year.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's marketing on both ends, right? Of it's marketed to the PC version, but then also to get you excited for the next version to hopefully fucking buy a PlayStation 5 if you can find it.
Well, Greg, now it's time for PlayStation picks. Of course, this is where we highlight a few of those cool looking games coming to PSN this week. We got one big hitter for you. That is Rainbow Six Extraction that's coming to PS5 and PS4 on January 20th. Greg, are we playing this one together?
River City Girls?
No, Rainbow Six Extraction.
Oh, sorry, I got distracted. I'm down. When do you want, if you want to play? You know what I mean? I think we, according to the embargo sheet, we can confirm that we have it, and we have been making content in the background about it. And I noticed you haven't been doing that with me. You know what I mean? It was me.
Well,
and Andy.
I wasn't invited.
Wow.
I was also busy. I was also on a stream.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
I'll
tell you what. You say the word, I will break my leg right now, so I don't have to do in review after this. We play around right now.
I'm 100% down. Let's do it. I'm down. As far as the actual picks themselves, let's start off with River City Girls. That is coming to PS5 on Tuesday, January 18th. There's trouble once again in River City, and this time only the girls can save the day. Using a variety of attacks, weapons, and items, these hot-blooded heroines are ready to teach the city's lowlives a lesson, either solo or in two-player co-op. It's an old-school rumble for a new generation, and this is one that I've actually been wanting to play for a while. I don't think I'm going to play this version yet. I'm waiting on
I've been wanting to play this one for a while, but I'm not going to play it.
I'm not playing it yet because I had a conversation with Andy, and I think what we're going to wait for is the Luna couch whenever we get if we get another Luna sponsorship, or maybe when we just get the time, because like I don't think it has online co-op. Correct me if I'm wrong out there, but I think it is couch co-op only. And so we were talking about like, okay, when we get the Luna couch together, we're going to make this our next thing to play River City Girls, because I've heard very good things about River City Girls.
Hold on real quick then. I know where you're coming from. Explain to anybody else. Well, first off, full disclosure, we've been sponsored by Amazon Luna for a bunch of different streams before. But remember, I did buy it because I actually like the tech. I bought it before I got sponsored. So, but what is Amazon Luna couch?
Yeah, so of course Amazon Luna is a streaming service where you can stream video games. Luna Couch specifically is where you're basically joining somebody's game to play co-op games. So you're playing as if you're playing on the same console in the same room, but you can play it online and it works pretty seamlessly. And yeah, we've done the sponsorship streams of them, but like I mean, if you listen to our content, I rarely talk about sponsorship stuff because like I don't know, I don't really think about it that hard. But like this is one of the ones where it's like, no, I genuinely really enjoy the time like doing the Amazon Luna stuff. And so yeah, that is what it is, and like that's kind of what I'm waiting for, just because like I don't have to double check, right? I don't think it is online co-op for River City Girls, but I could be wrong about that. If I am, I apologize, but I don't think I'm wrong.
What I found is the Steam page said it didn't have it, according to something I found. But then this is River City Girls 2.
No, this is the first one. 2 has co-op. I think that's the thing is 2 is adding online co-op. I know that for sure.
Yeah, that's confirmed. That is confirmed. So
we also have Windjammers 2. That's been to PS5 and PS4 as I accidentally opened Photoshop. Hold on, give me a second because it takes
now your thing's ground to a halt.
It's coming out Thursday, January 20th. The best flying disc game of all time is back with amazing hand-drawn graphics, crazy new moves, gameplay mechanics, and awesome new characters and stages. Windjammers 2 is the sequel you've been dreaming of. This is one that Jared Petty won't stop talking to us about.
Same thing about Austin Creed.
Yeah, Austin Creed is looking forward to this too. And it looks fun, honestly. This reminds me of, like, of course, it's the sequel to Windjammers 1, which is like,
this reminds me of Windjammers.
It's a cult classic. But no, it reminds me of, I think the game's called Disc Jam. It was a PS Plus game quite a few years ago. And it's the exact same concept, but it is behind the back, like third person. And I fucking loved playing that game for the week that I played it.
This looks like a game you'd be all about.
Yeah, like it's like a really fun, like simple PvP game. I think I'm gonna give Windjammers 2 a chance if I get time to, because there's like a lot of video games coming out now. But it looks like a really fun time. Barrett, you seem like the kind of person that'll play this too. Do you want to play with me?
I'd be down to play. I was gonna say the game it reminds me of is air hockey. You ever play air hockey?
Ooh.
Like in a pizzeria?
Hockey. Yeah.
Yeah, I know air hockey. Yeah, I know air hockey.
Yeah. That's what
you ever do the thing too where you're playing with your friends and somebody catches the puck right in their knuckles? Like,
oh yeah, all the time.
Oh, I've not had that. Is that a common thing? You catch it in your knuckle?
Yeah.
Like because the puck goes sideways.
If you're holding your thing in a very particular way, yeah.
Or you're say you're at somebody's house and you're bored, like you're a bunch of morons at a sleepover. Sometimes they'll just do the old knuckle puck.
Yeah. Or do you ever do like quarters?
Still sound like great friends.
You do like the knuckle thing where you put your knuckles on a table, and the whole point is to like slam a quarter into the other person's knuckles.
Dude, you just unlocked a memory for me in elementary school. Yeah, we called it bloody knuckles. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, Midwest kids had nothing to do.
We were idiots. Yeah, we had absolutely nothing to do. We were just fucking making ourselves.
Is "were" the right tense?
I mean, I'm no longer.
Kids are dumb in general.
I don't remember the last time.
Every kid has some stupid story they did, right? Of like playing with their friends. Jenna, give me well, you're a Midwest kid too, right? So you know.
Yeah, Chicago Midwest. So it's like if you put the East Coast in the Midwest.
But they had shit to do in Chicago.
Yeah, we had a lot.
Okay, but you didn't do games where you hurt each other.
To do in Ohio, we had cornfields.
Not really. I feel like that was more of like
slap bracelets. You weren't going ham on each other as hard as you could.
Like, no, yeah, I don't think. I mean,
you weren't
I'm
doing
sure
the thing where like you're grabbing people's arms and then like squeezing different ways.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know what the politically correct term is nowadays for that.
Yeah, I don't know what to call that anymore.
Yeah, right. There's a whole lot. There's a lot to unpack.
You didn't do the thing where like you're walking down the hallway and your friend has like all their books in their hands and then you book them, or you slap down all the books out of their hands.
I booked you.
You got booked.
I've never once done that. That's the most asshole. Kids are assholes.
We used to do that shit all the fucking time to each other.
The only dumb physical thing I did as a kid that I can remember offhand is me and my brother fake wrestling, because we watched like WWE as a kid. So he'd fake choke slam me into like our mattresses and stuff, and that's how like one of my beds broke when I was a kid. I mean, he didn't literally he's 6 years older than me, so he wouldn't obviously like literally fight me, as like he's way bigger and older and stuff, but it was just like goofing around, like jumping around and stuff.
So it's actually like play wrestling probably changed my life and made me like a way more careful person, because in middle school I was probably in 7th grade. Yeah, I was in 7th grade, and there were some kids I was in boarding school, right? Some kids in boarding school in our dorm, they were play wrestling, and one of them did the Triple H pedigree to another kid.
Oh my God. Oh, and an untrained person doing a pedigree is not a good look. That's going to go bad.
Dude, and it was on like a hard marble floor, and they broke that kid's tooth in half, and that scarred me.
Because let me guess, they didn't
God.
let his arms down, right? This is back in the day where they hooked him and they went the whole way with it, right?
Yep, exactly. And so that kid hit the ground, broke his tooth in half, and since then I was like, I'm never fucking around like like I'm not horsing around with kids ever.
I'm never fucking. No more horseplay.
No more horseplay.
I'm not doing horseplay anymore.
Straight at school.
I 100% got scared straight at that moment. Like that moment turned me around. I'm like, never again am I fucking play wrestling with you.
Did that kid just scream? God,
Yeah.
like that's a nightmare.
He was
for me,
done.
breaking
He
a
was
tooth.
He was crying, and the whole time I was like, I understand, man. Hey, I feel it. Like that was a grown ass adult tooth too. So like, I don't think that shit just grows.
Oh
back.
my God! What is,
Yeah.
what's
So hold
going
on,
with the footage today?
rewind it all the way back here, Barrett. This. So I haven't talked about this on content yet, but if you're an old Greg Miller fan or you've been around a long time, you've heard me talk about backyard wrestling and the BYWF that me and my moron friends did in high school. One of my moron friends from the BYWF era, his name's Jason. We hadn't talked in 20 years, and Jason has gone on to be a successful filmmaker and do all this different stuff. He's making a documentary about the BYWF, and he went and rounded us all up 20 years later to talk to us and stuff. And this isn't the new footage. This is footage he put out from the film and the original tapes.
I'm scared.
Fabulous cooler. Now you step in the ring with me, my friend.
Oh, trash can on the back, and Greg celebrates.
So if you ever heard, yeah, I mean, if you're a Greg Miller fan, you know my friend Poe. That's Poe there. I just hit with a trash can.
Help me.
This is the first thing we ever filmed, and this is Poe getting hurt right there. If you remember those old, if you want to rewind it for a second, Barrett, if you remember these old, if you're an audio listener, the old sports trash cans you have as a kid, mine's the Chicago Bulls one, Notre Dame ones, whatever. They were full-on metal trash cans that did not give, and we were wrestling with it. And Poe, this is the first thing we ever filmed for the BOWF. Poe lands on that one and like almost breaks his ribs. Like, watch this can not give.
Oh no!
And then he punches it in anger and then lies there in extreme pain.
I felt that in my chest.
None of us know what to do.
Oh my
Can't breathe.
God!
Bruised ribs. So that's gonna be a
Kids
joy.
are idiots. Is like the lesson here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But,
Kids are
but
big
also-
time idiots.
But also,
It's
hey,
ni-
like
isn't
that was a
it
lot of
nice,
dedication
though,
for the BYWF.
And I feel like I often had a lot of fear as a kid. Like I've just always been an anxious, afraid person, even when I was like a little kid. But I do miss some of the not realizing that you can like hurt yourself and or die, because with that comes just a little bit more. Like I kind of want to rechannel some of that in, you know, being able to do like things physically without as much fear and being hung up on, oh my God, like let me not break my wrist because then I can't gamer right, and then oh my God, the insurance on this is going to be a killer. Like, you know,
well, for
like,
you doing the
miss some of
roller
that.
skating, I remember like when I had rollerblades as a kid and I was like riding down like, you know, these terrible unincorporated Glen Ellen streets that aren't paid. Like maybe I had wrist guards on, maybe. But you know, you bite it and you scrape your face up and you tear up your arm.
That was like for me, that was part 2 of me being like, I'm going to be very careful for the rest of my life, where I was in high school and I was hanging out with like my best friend at the time, Lee Antoine. And he was riding a ripstick, which was like basically a skateboard, but it has 2 wheels instead of 4. And like you like ride it by like wiggling. It's like connected with a stick. And I love that thing. That was like, I knew how to ride that. I did not know how to ride a skateboard, but we were fucking around with that in like a church parking lot. And he's riding, he falls, and me and my friends are just laughing. We're like, oh man, you just bought it. He stands up, pulls up his arm. His wrist is literally making an S shape.
No.
And I was like, I'm never riding one of these things ever again. I'm not touching like it's the amount of things.
So,
I guess those 2 things mainly. Like the way that those changed my life for the better.
Have y'all actually like broken anything?
No.
Really? I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I haven't broken anything. Have you sprained anything? I've
well,
sprained
for
my
me-
wrist before.
I mean, I've rolled an ankle or whatever, but again, to this BYWF stuff, like when Jason came through to interview me and film me for it, like we did a bunch of commentary on some of it, and we were watching one, and it was like, you're talking about being forced back into the moment. We had stolen a shopping cart from Walmart that we used to wrestle, and like I was laying on it, like just I got knocked down on it, and the guy does a somersault on me, and he rolls over my arm, but my arm was no longer on the flat part of the shopping cart, it was on the edge, so I felt my forearm bend. Like as he rolled off, because there was nowhere for it to go. And I remember he rolled off and I remember looking over at it and like it wasn't broken. But I get up and I'm like, it's like one of those like adrenaline, I don't know, moment of calm in a storm where it was like that thing of like, there's an alternate universe right now where I just snapped my forearm in half. And I am like, the BYWF is over.
Yeah, I've never broken a bone, but I've had a bike brake go into my leg. That wasn't fun.
Oh, see, that's another big fear of mine. When I was riding bikes a lot as a kid, I was like, dude, if this thing catches my fucking pants and then like pulls my fucking foot in or something.
We were, you've got like the curb that's like a little smooth when you go up it, right? It's not like a flat like angular curb. I was going at it and I just went a little too fast, and so I hit it, flipped over my bike, and it was like the pedal that the handlebar that you use to brake that had gone into my leg.
No.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. What else is coming out the PlayStation?
We got one more PlayStation pick for you. RPG Golf Legends, or maybe RP Golf Legends. That's how it's spelled, but I'm just going to say RPG Golf because I think that's how you're supposed to say it. RPG Golf Legends is coming to PS5 and PS4 on Thursday, January 20th. Travel around in a unique open world where monsters and golf coexist. Get your best scores in 6 unique environments and beat monsters. When you're resting, do not forget to help people with their quests. Every encounter counts. This game reminds me a lot of Golf Story that came out a few years ago. It's a golf RPG. Seems like open world, encounter monsters, everything it just mentioned in the description. I kind of want to check this out, but at the same time, it doesn't like. I really liked Golf Story, and I don't know if this is going to hit that Golf Story level for me, because Golf Story had like, not only did it have golf and really good pixel art
and stories,
it had pixel art that I think honestly like looks better than the pixel art that we're seeing in this trailer here. But also I think the writing in Golf Story was really good, and I love the humor and I love the writing, and the story was actually like pretty fun and engaging. I fear I might not get that same level of like, this is cool and unique from RPG Golf Legends. But it's one that I kind of want to try because, like, again, I loved Golf Story, and like I do think there's something just purely fun about a golf RPG where you're going through and just like solving all your issues by putting and shit.
As Joshy G in the chat points out, you're pronouncing it wrong. It's Golf Story. Golf Story.
Well, I don't understand the joke here.
See, that was a calculated risk. You lost on Bear. Remember, he was late to the stream, so he wasn't there when I mispronounced everybody's golf.
I mean,
I couldn't fucking say golf.
You were still there when we explained it, and we still made fun of him for it. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you know this. Blessing's what I call a true friend, and he doesn't make fun of me for
Oh, that's not true. He makes fun
what's
of you,
that like?
Behind your back all the time.
That's fine. As long as I'm on camera, I don't care.
Not all the time.
Just
Greg, is this one you want to check out? RPG Golf or Gorf?
No, Golf Story I didn't get into. And it was that thing of like, I was super stoked for it. And then I got in there and I was like, oh, like the golf mechanic of this, I don't enjoy as much as I want to, which is going to make the rest of the game hard. So it kind of turned me off to that idea. And so like, this one, I look at it and I'm like, that looks fun. That looks unique. But why would I do that when I have something like Everybody's Golf? Everybody's Golf right there. Yeah. Okay, speaking of which, for what you've been playing, Blessing, we played some Everybody's Golf. We dusted that old chestnut off, another 2017-year-old game. That's not how it works, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's a good game. I really enjoy going back to Everybody's Golf. It's crazy how like you go back to that game and it's like this game doesn't age because this is a perfect video game.
And see that's what I was thinking of when I was playing it, even where it's like, man, I hope they make another one. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, why though? Like this is like what I really hope, I guess, is they put out a PS5 version of this, which I know they've already, you get all the PS4 Pro benefits if you want to of HDR and 4K and all that jazz. So it's like there really isn't anything to do. They just need to re-release it or get behind it and push it because goddamn, what a fun game that is.
Yeah, like a PS5 version where you don't have the load times and like it just looks a little bit prettier and runs optimized, runs smoother, and then also a multiplayer mode that is everybody's on an even playing field and gear and stats and shit don't matter. That's all I want. If they did that, then I'm like, cool, perfect.
Even then, though, we never investigated. We always kept saying on the next round we would check into that. We never checked into it. It's possible that exists.
I mean, you were definitely hitting your balls way further than I was hitting my balls.
No.
Are
you
talking about the mode being in there?
I'm saying there might be a way to do that, and we just didn't do it. Just me and Andy were so intent on trying to, me trying to stop Andy and Andy being unstoppable. So that's what it is. Because this is one of those games, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, I reviewed not all of them. I should say that I reviewed Hot Shots Open T2 and then another I used to review all the Hot Shots games at IGN when I worked at IGN. And so I love them so goddamn much. But like jumping back into Everybody's Golf, I was way too rusty and then all this other stuff. And Andy just hasn't missed a beat. And he's played way more than me, it turned out. We were looking at profiles. I was surprised how many more holes he has. But Andy has just a unique understanding of the video game golf thing out there. And it's a joy to be out there and be playing in general. But I like to talk shit. And then I appreciate being able to occasionally back it up. And I could not back it up that day. But I had fun.
Yeah, it was rough for you, buddy. Like,
you beat me too. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I beat you. I was surprised. I was like, damn.
Not every round. But, there was that one round that you guys all took the screenshots and tweeted about, and I was like, this hurts, Janet.
I mean, I needed to like reacclimate to everybody's golf because I was so I was so set to Mario Golf because Mario Golf is just way easier. And like jumping into everybody's golf, that's a real ass golf game where you got to really think about.
And that's the thing about it. Where and again, like, man, I wish they'd make another one. There's so much for me still to do in everybody's golf. I feel like what I need to do is probably play whatever the fuck I need to play for work, play whatever I need to play for fun, but then give that last like 30 minutes just every night, close it out with some holes. You know what I mean? Get out there, fill some holes. That seems like I might try to do that.
You double down.
Yeah, you could have just walked away.
You could have left it there. Yeah, you had to return.
I've been trying to talk about.
I don't think anyone's ever left anything here on this show.
Janet,
so let's dig into it until we hate it, and then
we leave it all in the field here. We leave it all in the field here for the trogs. You know what I mean?
Backyard. Yeah.
I've been trying to get this one on the docket, I think, since I came back, but now's the time we're into what you've been playing segment. I want to talk about ZJ the Ball. Have you guys heard of ZJ the Ball?
No, but I think I'm about to.
You're going to hear a lot about it. Don't do any of the stuff yet, Bear. I'm sorry. Don't look anything up. Don't look anything up, everybody. Just let me talk about it.
I'm not looking at anything, but I'm going to assume that this is an easy platinum.
Yes, of course it is. And so I had heard of ZJ the Ball in passing here or there, like in my trophy circles and breakthrough gaming in trophy circles. And I was like, whatever. But then one day, as I often do, I was like, you know what? Let's just see what's new on the PSN or whatever. And so I opened it up and there was ZJ the Ball episode 1 or level 1 or whatever. And I was like, it's 99 cents. And of course I Googled and I got this game and played it and platinumed it. And I shit you not, this is the worst fucking game I've ever played for trophies. Bear, you can now press play on this video. This is the trailer. It's Breakthrough Gaming, Christian themed video games. The Christian part is not the problem. We'll get to that in a second. This is the game for ZJ the Ball. Now, you're watching it. It's a ball that hops up and down and collects coins. That's all you do. Like, there's these little mini games in between segments here that you'll do. There you go.
It's got a fucking rockin' soundtrack, Craig.
Now, you're watching this and you're seeing it, and you're like, okay, cool. This is a bad game.
There's no way this game looks this bad, though, right?
Oh, it looks worse somehow. It looks because keep in mind. Now, here's the other thing, because like now that I have you, you're going on the ride with me into the brilliance of breakthrough gaming in 2020. If you want to roll it back, you don't have to, Bear, but if you want to roll back to there it is. Stop right there. ZJ the Ball, copyright 2005. Mm-hmm. This trailer is uploaded in 2005. It is in 4:3, right? It is. You're like, wait, whoa, what the fuck is going on? Mm-hmm. ZJ the Ball is a brilliant fucking scam right now on PlayStation that will only make you more angry the more I talk about it. So what you just saw was ZJ the Ball, a game from 2005, apparently by Breakthrough Gaming, right? Barrett, if you want to show ZJ the Ball's website now, which is the next link I have for you, because once I started into this, I was like, this is fascinating. What is going on here? You go to, because I needed to know more about what's happening.
This is so much deeper than I thought it was going to be.
It's going to get worse. We will turn a corner here in a little bit that will make you both angry, I assume, on some level. You go to the website for ZJ the Ball, and it's one of those websites that is like, you're going through the trap doors and you just keep coming back to the same point. Like, wait, how did I get back here? I'm looking for information. I wanted to know more about ZJ the Ball. So I keep going through these links and trying to get back. I can't get information. I eventually go to the Breakthrough Gaming YouTube, Barrett, if you can hit this next link here off of the doc. I have all these things. I'm going right down the doc. You don't have to worry about what's on ZJ the Ball's website, right? And I go there. And now on Breakthrough Gaming's YouTube page, they have videos about ZJ the Ball going live and these different things. And they say it's going to be a show, but it's only 2 episodes. Like, what the fuck is going on? And again, Breakthrough Gaming is promoting itself as Christian gaming. If you're an audio listener, like it says that on its logo, but then also they have a cross next to it for the Breakthrough Gaming. This is Breakthrough Gaming show episode 1. And it's the animated series. All this is promoting the fact that ZJ the Ball is going to be coming out and doing all these different things. Now, I'm sure a lot of people would say, if you look at this, you can see ZJ the Ball is wearing a beanie, but he also has a little cross on the front of it. You'd say, oh, I'm sure Greg is going to dunk on this hat for some reason for it being, a Christian game or something like that or whatever. I am not in any way, shape, or form going to do that, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, what I want to call out again is that this is such a fucking scam that they're calling it Christian games, and literally it'll be that ZJ the Ball will mention Jesus once in the front and then once in the end of it. Like he will make one comment to the fucking robot that pops up about God made this happen. They're not teaching you about Jesus. They're not teaching you about Christian stuff at all.
I'm pausing it here, just you know, if
these codes are long gone from ZJTheBall.com.
If these codes are still, you know, up in Atom, you know, grab them right now while they're hot, you know.
And so like it is literally ZJ the Ball maybe in 2005 started with the best intentions of like being a church project and somehow referencing God here and there, whatever. But whatever. In 2021, it is not. Now, Breakthrough Gaming PSN Barrett is about to pull up for you, ladies and gentlemen, and you won't lose your mind probably. What's wrong?
Just looking at
it's loading up still. What you will find though when you go here, right, is a plethora of shit games from Breakthrough Gaming that they are all selling for 99 cents, just $1 that you can go get the platinum. Now, if you notice right there, ZJ the Ball pops up twice, Barrett, right? And I'm trying to expand it so I can see which numbers those are. What does it say?
Level 5 and level 2C.
Wow.
Now here's where I expect you to get angry. This is where I think everybody you can get angry because it's such a scam, or you can applaud them for their ingenuity. What they've done, remember that trailer from 2005 I showed you a second ago, Blessing? What they've done is they've broken that game up by level to sell you $1 versions of them.
And each one has a platinum.
And each one has a platinum trophy.
Oh, you
can go through. Now, Blessing, you might look at some of these and go, oh, there's level 2C. What does that mean? Is that so there's A, B, and C? No. What that means is they've published ZJ the Ball level 2. Then they've published the exact same level as 2C, except this one's a challenge one. This one's a challenge one where they've hidden the coins a little bit harder. They've done, you know what I mean? They've done through this. I was flabbergasted because I you know me, I love getting a shitty platinum trophy. Why not? This one is, look at them all. Look at all these fucking ZJ the Balls right there. And it's like, oh my, and then you see these weird like black and white baseball games, whatever the one before. These are in there too, because when you get, every level ends with you getting to this fucking robot that isn't, I thought, oh, the robot's going to be like the devil. There's going to be, and like, no, the robot just fucks with you. And the robot makes references to the fact and so does ZJ, none of this makes fucking sense. This is all just happening, whatever. And again, I can't find what ZJ the Ball in 2005 was started as. If this is a game that was started like in church group, some 7-year-olds made it, obviously then more power to them. I'm with you. But of course, now we're talking about selling the levels for $1 a piece, doing all these different things. Like you get to this point where it's like the black and white games you see there are also there because you get to the robot makes you do a challenge that is catching bowling balls as they fall in this, and then that comes back, you talk to and then you're done, you got a platinum trophy. And you got to find all the coins, but it's not like it's hard. And of course, there's trophy guys for all of these to go get. So it was one of those, it's my normal, oh, and then, yeah, Barry, if you want to click through the Breakthrough Gaming Twitter I have on here, my final link. This is when I was like, I need to know more. I need to find out more information. The Breakthrough Gaming Twitter here, look at this shit. I saw people
tweet is what sends me.
I saw there people bitching about it. Bible Video Game Sundays. They publish their Christian games, which again, I'm not making fun of. I'm telling you, it would be akin to me at the start of this show, be like, praise God, we're here for PS I Love You. And then be like this Christian podcast where we talk about breaking arms and shit. Like they do this, they publish them on Sunday so that they basically, like I saw somebody else in it was Mary Kish, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I think it was from Twitch. Be like, why is there, no, it wasn't. It was Mia who works at Riot, but it doesn't matter. One of our peers being like, why is there so much shovelware shit on the store? And I was like, this isn't shovelware shit. It is shovelware shit, but they're doing it so intelligently where they're publishing this shit on Sundays to keep it on top of the store for you to see this thing and get it's like, it is so fucking crazy that the way they're doing this. Like, cause it is literally, you can jump back to, I remember doing the infamous 2 press tour, going out for a beer with Nate Fox from Sucker Punch and being like, oh man, like somebody should just put trophies in a shitty game. He's like, people would buy it, jump ahead, whatever, probably 20 years. And here we are being like, wow, I can't believe how thorough they are at selling these 99-cent platinum trophies.
Greg, like all these different games, like all these characters, are they in the same universe? Are they all friends? What's going on?
So far,
here?
no. I've only seen ZJ the Ball hang out with that robot with the cross on his head.
Okay.
Here's a question though. Did you platinum this?
Oh, multiple.
God damn it.
That's why
Hold on.
Like,
Everybody stop for 10 seconds. For 10 seconds. I want you to know I felt bad about it. Because what it is I saw them and I was like, oh, 99 cents. I'll do 6. I'll buy the 6 of them and talk about it on PS I Love You. I didn't realize how scummy it was going to be. I have not bought more since I bought the initial batch. But yes, I have, Janet, gone through platinum many of them, if not all. I forget.
That is well. This is just like that, and I forget the specifics of the TikTok audio, and we all have different algorithms. But that audio, that's like, damn, that's crazy. So what'd you do? You had to catch an Uber or something? What you mean, boy? Oh no, gotta see it through. That is the gotta see it through audio in real life. I actually have nothing to say in response to that platinum.
What did you want me to do? I bought them, bless. I spent the money.
But it's the fact that like I understand that it's like, okay, it's 4 minutes for the first platinum, 7 minutes for the second platinum, 8 minutes for that third platinum you got there. But you combine all that up. Greg was playing for at least fucking 20 minutes, just ZJ the Ball. Like, picture that. This man is nursing a baby in his living room while playing ZJ the Ball for at least 20 minutes.
Did Ben
just for
learn
the sick addiction of platinums,
Christian values from ZJ the Ball?
Yeah, I want to boot it back up. I want to read you.
There's 2 more in there.
Yeah.
Wait, how? Like 5 of these.
There's 5
Are
platinums.
okay. I have a second question. Will you be buying more ZJ the Ball
Also,
episodes?
why are you not going in chronological order? You go 3C, then 4, then 1, 2, and 1C.
Barrett, I don't think it matters.
I think it does.
Barrett, the reason being, of course, is because
what is the universe? What are the motivations?
I thought when I
30 minutes spent playing ZJ
when
the
I
Ball.
took this shot on this, my thought process was, what the fuck is this? And so then I thought they were individual games. I didn't think I was getting, these levels. I didn't know what I was going through. I didn't know what I was getting into. So I didn't know.
At least 35 minutes worth of ZJ the Ball.
Now, to my credit, sometimes keep in mind it is just sitting there. You know what I mean? Like what I in the same way I'm talking about everybody's golf closing out my night. Sometimes at the end of you're playing something. I'm playing a lot of Assassin's Creed. I'm like, well, I don't want to start another mission. I bought these things and I want to talk about them on the show. Maybe I bust out a trophy that way.
Okay, here's a question I have as well. When did you start being this person, and how can I, just as a cautionary tale, like what do I need to avoid to
I've been in my trophies
have
game,
this
by the
become?
way.
I don't want to be this, and we're the same, and I'm afraid.
Did you ever see the movie Joker?
No, did you just dance down some stairs?
All it takes is one bad day, Janet. That's all it takes. All right, here we go. This is literal dialogue from ZJ the Ball, right? The game things, he opens and you fall through this thing, and this is what he goes. Oh, I'm sorry, you're talking to your mom on the phone, and mom says this. Mom, and this is just literally a ZJ the Ball on a little platform, and then it says, Mom, and I'll pray for you too. Lord, please let my son get home safe. Thank you, God, in Jesus' name. And that was like the reference to God that started that episode of ZJ's life.
Now, have you played? So I see the other games here.
This might be offensive. Like,
we got Breakthrough Gaming Arcade.
Bring it back around.
Have you played Forgiveness, the first chapter? I want to know what this is all about.
No.
There is no way.
Guys, I strayed from the path for science. I wanted to know what was going on and talk about I wanted to talk about cheap platinums. I didn't realize I was falling down this rabbit hole here. Here's how the first off, I shouldn't even say it. Every one of these levels starts with just a straight up, it's ZJ, a BMP of him on a screen with text that's all blurry. Because again, it's a 2005 game stretched out to be on my thing, right? Hi, I'm ZJ. My mom is a great worker at church, and I want to get her something special. I heard there are some flowers in the forest. Let's go find them. And that starts this entire odyssey for this poor ball.
I got nothing to say.
Again, I'm not proud, guys. This is what I had to do once it started, right? All right, and ZJ falls down. Well, one thing is for sure, I'm still alive. Thank you, Jesus. ZJ also says, God, please help me find a way out. And thanks for that. Thanks for that help.
So there's not really like, you mentioned it and like, it sounds like it, but it's really hard for you to grasp. There's no Bible lesson here. There's no like,
no.
It doesn't even sound like there's actual references to the.
Here's ZJ again talking to the robot that continually thwarts him at the end of the episode, but like isn't evil and like makes references to being like, I don't know why I'm sending you to this other world. I have to. ZJ says to him, God made the world, so he rules, not us.
Wow.
This
So many games that we could be talking about are running through my head right now.
I do not think
talking about ZJ the fucking ball.
The person or people who made this game, I doubt. It sounds like they've not read the Bible. Like that is what I that is what I gather from this. This sounds.
There's a lot of jokes I could make with that I'm not going to.
Well, like this sounds like me
heart.
when I was like like in church as a kid, and they're like, "Yeah, go home and read Psalms, and then come back, and we'll talk about it next week." And I didn't read it, and I make stuff up from the top of the dome. Sure. That is what everything Greg just mentioned sounds like that. But also on top of it, they're scamming people to get platinums by appearing on
acting like they're a Bible game.
Acting like they're a Bible game, and also like at what point do we point the finger at PlayStation for allowing this on the store? Because this is egregious.
I will say in general, like the PlayStation Store, I be trying to like live that impulsive like indie life on the PlayStation Store, and I find I struggle to live that life. Like I can do that really easily on the eShop. Not that there's shovelware everywhere. Every platform has shovelware. That's just want to throw that out there. But
of course, yeah,
like I wish that so many of what has been talked about is upsetting, I think, on a couple levels.
All of it.
Madognick96 says the lesson is the real life lesson of you wasting your time and money playing these.
Yeah, like why? I don't even know what to do with this because I feel like I don't like to waste my time on urging people to make changes that they clearly don't want to make, Greg.
Yeah.
So at this point, I just have to sit and watch you unravel, and I don't know what to do about that.
I can quit anytime I want to, guys. I can quit anytime I want.
Greg and not pulling him out of this? Like, what should we just? Are we like?
I don't know where we will start. I don't know where to start to pull him out of this because he's so far gone. Like, here's the thing.
Like, are we enabling it? Should we just end the call and just leave him here to talk about ZJ the Ball?
35 minutes playing ZJ the Ball, and like. The Forgotten City is like 5 hours long, man. It's like you could have played the beginning of that game, you know, and it's like...
But I was tired.
From all the ZJing.
I don't need to think when I play ZJ the Ball. All right, I think where's the Bible reference?
Are you a ZJ the Ball apologist right now? Are you secretly like a fan?
What I'm saying is this.
Or are you buying more of these? Are you buying more of these?
No, I will not buy more of them. However, there's a caveat, all right? There's still 3 more that I bought on the initial purchase that I need to play.
Why not just let it go? See,
they're
this is
just
the problem.
sitting here, Janet.
This is the problem. Y'all want to come for me about PS Plus, don't redeem, whatever. When y'all get married to the way you spend your money and into that sunken cost fallacy shit, this is how you end up playing ZJ the Ball. I'm just saying, it's a slippery fucking slope.
No, this is...
I mean, but he spent like $9, whereas you're spending monthly money on PS Plus and using any of the benefits.
Redeeming PS Plus games isn't what led Greg here. What led Greg here is being a fucking trophy hunter.
But the idea of like, I bought it already, so I must use it. No, you don't need to. You don't need to. Greg, I don't know your credit score, but I'm pretty sure the $3 is gonna be fine. Like, I think you can just let it go. I don't think you need to justify the $3 cost plus tax. Like, I think it could probably be fine.
Yeah, I thought this was a safe spot. I thought it was a safe place. You know what I mean?
You thought wrong.
Look at that, man.
Is this an in memoriam for ZJ the Ball too? All right, fine. You know what, Janet? You know what, Blessing?
Don't put me next to ZJ the Ball. Look, here.
I was gonna try to. I couldn't do it live though.
It's a space to share, but it is not a space to enable. Like, I cannot let you. I think we gave you the space.
Look it. Hold on. There's my options button. I'm deleting the last 3 ZJ the Ball. All right.
Proud of you. Also, I like the blue DualSense.
Hell yeah, you do. I'll tell you what, like, you know, this one, this DualSense, the blue one was provided by PlayStation. They sent us to them, and then we split the goods together. And I was like, damn, seeing it, I'm like, I probably gotta buy that pink one.
Yeah, the pink one. Hold on, let me see.
I had a pink controller forever on my PS2 at IGN.
Love this guy.
Yeah, God, look at that. It looks hot. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. I gotta do that.
Yeah, I love this little guy, and also the shout out to the Crimson PS5 plays too, because that's what I'm rocking. And again, PlayStation sent the stuff. Thanks.
Has everyone changed in their plates?
Hold on, I want to have this conversation as the post show.
Sure.
Patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames, where you can go get it, just where you could go to right into the show like so many people did, just like where you could be watching live like Omega 3, Coop Lord 564, and Joshy GR. Remember, Patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames keeps the lights and mics on. Go there to support PS I Love You and be part of it. However, if you have no bucks tossed our way, no big deal. YouTube.com/KindaFunnyGames, RoosterTeeth.com, podcast services around the globe each and every Tuesday morning. Of course, like we said, Horizon Forbidden West is 1 month out, and we'll be talking all about that there. So start getting your questions ready for what you want out of that. So whenever we can talk about it, we can. Blessing at Aoye, what's your question?
I know we're doing our hashtag PS Love photo mode, Horizon Zero Dawn. Are we gonna say we're gonna push that to next week?
It's a good question.
Yes.
Sure. We'll push it next week. Yeah. Barrett says so. We're doing it.
Just let the people know.
Yeah. Good call. Good call. I like where your head's at. Janet, what's that? You got your little thunder jaw there?
I think it is. Yes, this is the Thunderjaw. It's a Funko Pop, which always surprises people because most people just picture Funko Pops as having like little chibi heads.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I had something in my throat. But yeah, it's really cool. This was my boyfriend's because he had beaten the game, I think, when it came out. So he had this little piece of merch, and I had to bring it on for the show because now I'm like, now I know what this is. It has many a times beat my ass as I've hidden behind rocks to set up like elaborate tripwires and then just let everything else do the rest for me.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got a post you to on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. But until next time, no, it's been a pleasure to serve you.